What's up, everyone? My name is Liam, and welcome to the Full Circle podcast. Today, I am joined by Mr. Jason Acoustified. I say Acoustified because that's what you're attached to. But how's your day, man? How you doing? And tell everyone about yourself.
Well, hello. Thank you. I haven't been able to have talk with anybody for several months, so it's nice to be able to talk to you, and thank you for having me on. Um, I am a music photographer, a musician, father, you know, all of those things. And I'm just currently I'm just battling some lung cancer and just now getting my voice back. So those things are going on. That's a fun journey so far. And
Yeah,
um and we'll see this summer. Hopefully I will do some photos this summer. We'll see how that goes. Lots of plans, doing some film stuff, hopefully too. Lots of uh cool things that potentially are in the works.
I love that for you, man. That's well, at least the photography part. And
Thank you.
also, as someone who has watched your cancer diagnosis since the beginning, it's actually amazing to see that your voice transitioned so far and how it's transformed nearly back to what it not all the way back to what it used to be, but it's getting there, and it's
Yeah,
amazing to see.
yeah, it's been weird. Last summer I keep looking over here. I gotta look over there. Last summer I was doing, my typical photography all summer long and doing shows and concerts and all that stuff. And I kept having this cough, and then my voice all of a sudden just went away. And I was like, oh no, that's not good. And it took months of doctor's visits till we finally figured out what was going on. And that was like 6, 7 months ago. I was diagnosed with cancer. And then, I started this treatment, and I don't know, like maybe, hmm, 2 months, my voice started coming back, and now it's actually feeling pretty good. I haven't had any long conversations yet, but so far it feels pretty good.
We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see the excitement in your face too. You're just like, oh my God, I'm so excited for this. Like, I mean,
I'm, I'm just happy. I am happy to be up and about and making the best of every day. I'm very grateful. So I'm just like enjoying everything I can.
I mean, if I was in your shoes, I'd probably be doing the same thing. So my prayers are to you and for a full recovery.
Oh,
Fingers
thank you.
crossed, because we need you in this industry for many years to come, in my opinion.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I'm gonna do everything I can.
Fingers crossed for you. But
Thank you.
somewhere I want to start is what is acoustified media? Like where did it come from?
So it's like a mix of a couple different things. So I was a musician for most of my life. I was a guitar player and then a singer and songwriter and all that stuff. And that was acoustified, which is misleading because it's actually hard rock, not acoustic music, which is how people associate it. But um, So I had this band, my band for several years called Acoustified. And I also on the side did a lot of photography. I did some sound stuff and I did some film stuff, movie stuff. So I would start off where I used to be the boom operator, where I'd hold the microphone over the scene while they're filming the scene and stuff like that for movies. And basically, I would take my experience there and kind of observe what was going on and watch the camera people and watch how everything was done and just try to learn as I was going through what everyone was doing. And so after, I don't know, being on several sets and doing it, I was like, you know what? I think I want to try doing some of that stuff. So I got myself some camera gear. I had a kid at that time, so I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to start trying to utilize and learn my camera and all that stuff. So Acoustified Media sort of was born out of the band not being active and working on my photography and video and all that other stuff. So that's probably been about 10 years ago, something like that. So I would what I would do, how I sort of got in this concert photography thing was I would play a show. So we would open for a band and I would bring my camera and my guitar case and I would just, you know, play the show, put my guitar away and take the camera out and take some photos. And that's sort of how I kind of got started with all that stuff. And it just kind of grew off of that.
Awesome. I love how like I whenever I like talk to some people because there's some that have a podcast that never made it to the internet that when I would talk to them and a lot of like what either became known for always came out of like some other thing
Yeah.
that they did that they're
Yeah.
like this is what I want to do and then it's like all of a sudden it's like some like a side hobby or something that just piques their interest while they're doing that other thing ends up turning into their big thing and then the other
Yeah.
thing's just like to the side now.
Yeah.
And
You
it was
find
just
out with being a musician, you learn a lot about people in the industry and how how that whole process works. So that sort of gives you a uh, sort of idea of what you're looking for when you're on the other end of the camera now. So you kind of have an idea of this artist is, this is probably how they want to be portrayed because I was in that scenario, being up on stage playing or whatever. So you have a little bit of that. And I do think that a lot of creative people are not just creative in one sort of thing. They actually have a series of things that they're creative. And it's usually the thing they're most passionate about is the gateway to another thing, as you just said. And I find that, for me, I was really, really passionate about playing guitar for my whole life. And then I just got to a point where like, I'm not having a lot of success at this, but I'm doing this photography and it seems to be growing fast and I feel really confident about what's happening there. So I'm just going to kind of, instead of doing guitar up here and photos down here, I'm just going to swap them and see where this
yeah,
goes.
as you should. I was like
Yep.
that. I think because the photography is how I discovered who you were like 5 years ago, or something like that. And I remember I did like that's where I initially found you, and that's where I was like I just followed you in the silence of the background, just like wonder where this guy's gonna go because I think I've initially discovered you from like your like photographs of, like Five Finger Death Punch and stuff like that.
Yep.
And that whole fan base kind of like made me find you, and then it was just like
That
you know
was,
this guy's
that was,
pretty cool.
well, thank you. But yeah, that was pretty awesome. So in 2019, so well, I'll let you know, I am a photographer for a venue in New Hampshire. And it's about a 10,000 seater venue that has all of the pretty well-known acts coming through of all different types and sizes and genres and all that stuff. Excuse me. And Five Finger was in 2019. Five Finger came through with In This Moment and Fire of the Gods, I think, or something like that. But anyways, Five Finger came through. So I was well aware of who Five Finger was, but I had never seen him before. And the benefit for what I do is I get to interact with the crowd. So I get to meet the fans and meet the hardcores and meet all the VIPs and all that sort of stuff. So I just was, I had no clue what the fan base is like. You don't really know a band until you meet their fan base. And so that show was just crazy because everyone, it's just really, really cool people, but they're really passionate about their band. And there's a lot of people, and that's In This Moment and Five Finger both have a like hardcore fans that like to dress up at shows. And you got the Ivan's handprint on your face for half, like 20 people in the audience have that, and it's just really, really cool, really, really cool fan base. And so for that one, I did a bunch of photos. And the band actually acknowledged some of my photos and shared a couple of my photos. Ivan's made a few comments. I think he shared a photo, and Jason Hook and I became friends at that point. And so we sort of, I mean, I literally was just talking to him today. So that was actually a really, really, there's like two bands that are turning points for me in what I do as a photographer. Excuse me. I got to take deep breaths because I still have a lot of congestion and stuff like that.
You're good.
But Five Finger and Shinedown were the two bands that really kind of, once I was able to experience their shows, and those two bands are so grateful for everyone that works with them and around them and their fan base and everything like that. And they're really interactive and stuff like that. Those two bands just like really made it passionate for me. And it was no longer, hey, I get to do fun, cool stuff. It's now like, I really want to deliver for these bands. If these bands are, they're really hitting with their fans, and the shows are just insane, and everyone in the bands are just great, really great people. It really upped my passionate level, and it really made me like, all right, now I need to take this more serious than I am. And yeah, so Five Finger was like one of those moments, definitely.
I was about to ask. One of my other questions I actually had written down was just like, what is there any artists in particular that like made that like changed your career kind of thing? And
Yeah, so
that's good
there's
to know that Five Finger and Shinedown really shaped that in a sense for you.
so for me, back when I was playing and just taking photos on the side, Pop Evil, we got to open for Pop Evil a couple times. And Pop Evil is like what was one of my favorite bands at the time. So we got to open for them, and I got to do, they let me do photos for a couple shows. And that was my first real experience of, okay, now I need to, learn my camera better. So yeah, I can take photos and I understand the musician, but now I need to really make sure I understand my equipment. So Pop Evil kind of gave me that sort of mindset. And then from there is like Shinedown and Five Finger were the ones that gave me, really like, all right, now it's the passion that's being needs to be really focused on and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm noticing that slowly, and like when I'm because I became a stagehand like sometime mid last year, and I started really getting into the behind the scenes stuff and really expanding my passion and love for live entertainment. And it just I'm noticing that like when I interact with bands that have interests that of taking me out with them or something, to just
Yep.
learn to do something with them because they like my personality.
Yep.
I've started to like from interacting with like artists and stuff. I'm like I see that the level of passion they have for what they do, and then that's when I like reality to reality check myself of like, okay, I need to like dial in what specifically is feeling the passion in this,
Yep.
so
Yep.
that I can, if just unconsciously show that to them through my
Yep.
work. And now I'm
Yep.
just like, yeah,
Yeah, that's
not
awesome.
just like I don't know. For me, it's one of those like things like I just show passion in everything and just being present
Yep.
because I can't say I have a passion in one particular thing. It's just in that realm of stuff. It's just like I don't know, put me somewhere and I'll just show you like what I do. It's
Right. Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
like the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, you're trial by fire. You're in there, you're making it, and like you said, personality is really what changes, really what makes the difference between a really seasoned person that is a fucking asshole, or excuse my language, or a someone who's green, who's really, someone that's cool to hang out with, and they can learn. Then
Yeah,
obviously they're gonna go with that unless there's a particular reason they have to go with that. But yeah, totally.
right. And I've learned I've not learned I've seen that happen. I've seen that, and it's
Yeah.
interesting like how the selection process of that kind of stuff goes. It's like it always is never what you think it's going to be.
So who are you working with currently?
I don't have anyone I'm actively with currently. It's
Yeah.
more of just I've been talking to some artists and nothing's been lining up, if that
Okay.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yeah. Well,
I
hopefully
don't
they're
want to I don't
gonna.
want I don't want to name drop or anything just so I don't get in trouble with anybody.
Yeah,
So,
you don't want to, you don't want to jinx anything either, too. So totally.
oh yeah, I can say I already mentally overthink it because I'm just like thinking like, oh, I talked to so and so today, like at lunch or something, and it's just
Yep.
like, did I just jinx myself? Please don't say that. Like, don't do
Right.
that.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, that happens to me a lot. And, I still, you know, I, s- I occasionally talk to some of the big artists, and I still get like, I have to remind myself, you know what? That conversation is not with a fan and an artist. That's with and someone who's looking to provide a service and an artist. So you got to kind of treat yourself professionally, is not
Yeah.
fanboy out on that person. Because I still get on the edge of the fanboy, sometimes when I'm talking to some of these people, and I have to like remind myself, no, don't do that.
Yeah, I've had my moments like that too, where I'm just like not when I'm working. It's more of when I like network with artists or like
Yeah.
if I just happen to be at the right place at the right time and we like, I don't know, grab lunch or we do something and it's just like then I have to sit there and I'm in the moment and I gotta be like, okay, do half the time it's like, oh, I really want to work for this person. Let's just try to dial it back no matter how exciting this moment may be for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like, remember, you have like a once in a lifetime thing going on right now that probably most people would not be
Yeah.
experiencing.
Yep. Yep.
And
Totally. Yeah. And people would kill for your opportunity, to do what you're doing or whatever.
yeah, and yeah, I don't know. That's all I got to say on that one, honestly.
Well, this summer's going to probably be busy for a lot of people, so I'm sure you'll get a lot of cool gigs out of this coming summer.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
But yeah. Yeah. Yep.
But like what's so you mentioned you're friends with Jason Hook, yeah?
Yes. Yep.
So
So
how did
after
that
that,
friendship come along?
so after that show, so he did that show, Five Finger did the show in 2019 in New Hampshire at the venue I work at, and then they, continued the tour. Um, he really liked one of the photos I took and asked for, some copies and stuff like that. So I sent him a bunch of stuff. And then he started talking to me about photography, Photoshop, and some skills. And at the time, they were on tour, so I didn't talk to him that much. But when they went overseas, and that's when he got sick at the show, and I forget where they were. Was it the beginning of 2020? Yeah, right at the beginning of 2020. Him and
Mhm,
I were talking, but I had no idea about what was about to happen with him leaving the band, Five Finger. I had
mhm,
no idea, but I could sort of sense. I'm not going to talk about our conversations or anything like that, but I can sort of sense that he was looking for something. He was looking to, I could sense that he was doing something cool, but I didn't know what it was.
mhm.
And I know he was writing some cool stuff and he would share some riffs with me. And I'm like, oh, dude, that sounds really, really good. So he would share some riffs and stuff like that. And then, we just sort of talked. And honestly, we just talked about photo stuff. We just talked about photography. We talked about Photoshop. Him and I would have some sessions where he had some products, some of the Hook merch that he was working on, and he wanted me to, fix some stuff or help create some of the images for some of those things. So I would do some of that stuff and I would work with him on his website at the time, which I think was just Jason Hook at the time. Now it's all the flat black stuff. But him and I would just kind of collectively work on that, and then we would just talk about Van Halen and all the bands and guitars and all that sort of stuff, and then we would just kind of hang out and just go through Photoshop stuff, and I would show him what I would know, and he would tell me some stuff he would do and all this stuff. So we just kind of started having online conversations, kind of like this through Zoom, and then at some point. I don't remember if it got leaked or whatever, but at some point he left the band, Five Finger, whatever that time period was. And I had no idea any of that stuff. Like I said, I could just sort of sense that he was working on something cool, but I really didn't know anything about him leaving the band or quitting the band or any of that stuff or anything like that. And then after he left the band, him and I were talking about new stuff he was working on, and he would, again, he would like show me some stuff. I'm like, oh, dude, that sounds so good. And he was working with some other artists and stuff like that, and they were all people that I'm like, oh, dude, you're working with a great, group of people. And I would always send him suggestions on like, what about if you got this singer, or what if you got that singer? And he's like, yeah, we're working on it. And we just keep sending him like names of people. Like, how about this guy, or how about that person, or why don't you do an album with all like Lizzie Hale and all
Oh,
different
that's
singers and stuff like
sweet.
that. Yeah, and I would just throw stuff at him, and I think I was kind of annoying him after a while, but it was just it was just interesting from my perspective, being distant because we're talking on Zoom and stuff like that. Um, but I could see the progression of Five Finger. In fact, he asked me to do some logo designs for Five Finger. So no, I'm sorry, not Five Finger, for Flat Black. So I originally did some original designs for the Flat Black logo. And he actually had different band names at the time. So we were looking at different name options as well. And I think the logo he ended up, I don't have a shirt with me, but the logo he ended up with was not my design, but it actually has it looks like, I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like it has some of my letters in the actual design that I originally gave him. But
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, but anyways, we just became good friends, and we just have so much in common we're both, guitar players. We both have the same name. We're both from the north, and we both like the same music. So we just had a lot in common, and I finally got to meet them in person when they came through last year with Godsmack. So I shot the New Hampshire show, uh, and then he invited me up for the Bangor show up in Maine. So I shot both shows. And it was pretty cool. I got to go up on stage with
That's
them.
exciting.
Yeah,
That's
well,
exciting.
yeah. So I filmed the whole thing too, because I had I don't have it with me here. I have my little gimbal camera. It's kind of like this 360. I have a 360 camera here, but it's kind of like that. But I filmed the whole thing, backstage and all that stuff. And it's funny because I've been doing this for a long time, and I know proper etiquette for photographers on stage and stuff like that, but I freaking wasn't paying attention. I was doing back-to-back shows. Keep in mind, I was brutally sick with cancer and did not know it. I found out I had cancer like a month later. I was really sick. I was coughing a lot. I did a show in New Hampshire with him the night before, and then I immediately drove all the way up to Bangor, Maine, which, from the Hampshire gig, that's probably like 5 hours. So I was sleep deprived. So I get up on stage and I'm taking all the pictures. And if you go back and look at Flat Black's video from a couple days ago of them just jamming, you literally see me standing right there wearing a green shirt, taking photos right on stage next to them, next to the drums. And I'm like, what a dumbass. I should have wore all black. And I was so tired. I was sick. So I was like looking back on this. I was telling Hook, I was like, I'm really, really sorry that I stood out as much as I did. I should have been way more discreet. I know better. I got some awesome shots. So I got really cool stuff, but when you're looking back and you see yourself standing out on stage with the band, you should not be standing out on stage with the band. So
Right.
I'm very embarrassed for that. But I knew better. I was just I was sleep deprived and I was sick and I didn't know it. But I got the shot. I got some killer stuff and I sent it all, over to them, and they share stuff as they need to for their social medias and stuff like that.
Yeah, your photos always are like probably some of the best. I'd say I probably see. Not, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna like glorify everything because honestly, like there's a lot of great photographers out there.
Yep.
I'll give credit where credit's due on that. But I'd say you're
Yeah.
up there and probably one of the best ones currently.
Well, thank you very much. I guess, everyone looks at their own stuff and they're a critic of their own work and they're like, man, it's just not quite there yet. That's how I feel about everything I do. I'm like, I know I can do stuff, but I just don't feel it's at the level it needs to be. Um, and a lot of it's just kind of because you're doing the same thing over and over again. So you kind of get a little bit samey. So I'm like doing the same, shows every year and stuff like that. So it's like, all right, some artists are so boring on stage and they just stand there, and if you're doing somebody like, say, for example, a Willie Nelson or something like that, he's not going to be jumping around stage. He's going to be sitting in his chair. He's not almost what, 90 something.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think so.
something like that. So he's not going to be jumping all around. So you're not going to have a lot of variety in your shots. So some of it is me, excuse me, is me just kind of going through the motions, and then I just like, I wish I should have done this differently. So yeah, so I really thank you very much for saying that. I really appreciate it, but I never feel like I'm at the level I feel like I want to be. But
Understandable.
that's typical. That's typical of
Be,
anybody.
being your own worst critic. I mean, I do it all the time. I mean, in my podcast episodes, I look back at them, I'm like,
Yeah.
man, why did I ask that question? Or like, why did I say this? Why did I like start like
Yep.
going off, in this direction? Why did I do that? And it's just, and then I eventually have to just sit there and be like, well, it's done. Don't complain about it.
Yep, it's done. You just move forward. It is what it is. I totally agree with you. Yep, I totally get it. It's a learning curve. I mean, every time you do anything creative, it's a learning curve for that next project or for the next
Exactly.
thing, next version, or whatever.
Yeah. And I will say, when you said cameraman etiquette of like wearing all black and everything, I will say, um, I've been told that I have to either wear black or dark gray every single show. If I don't, it could be a deal breaker.
Yep,
I've been
yep,
told before.
absolutely. That's the absolute rule, and I broke
Yeah,
it.
I'm like I think one time I showed up in red, and I think the stage manager that night just stared at me, and he's just like, Liam, what the fuck have we told you? Like, you're supposed to wear black.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is for me is that's absolutely the case, and that's usually the case for me. I'll usually wear all black. I just happened I didn't have a black shirt with me that particular one day because I was running back and forth from Maine to New Hampshire or vice versa. But the venue I work at, when I do shows during the summer at the New Hampshire venue, they give us red shirts, these bright red. I don't have anything here that's like that, but these bright red shirts. So we stick out like a sore thumb. And I was like, can we get black? And they're like, nope, that's the shirt you have for your department. So security
That's
has these,
stupid.
yeah, I know. Security has these bright yellow shirts, which I guess makes sense so you can stick out. But us having red shirts is just like, oh my God, this is the worst. But I don't have a choice.
That's crazy. Like,
Yeah,
actually.
I
That's
know. I
that's
know.
like that's so
It makes
stupid.
no,
You're like, I'm supposed to like blend in, please. And they're like,
yes.
sorry. Sorry,
Yep.
too bad.
Yep. It's one of those things where, we are part of another department, and that department, it's a universal rule. So how is it fair for that person if it's, not for that person, something like that? So whatever.
Mhm.
I'm just happy
That's
to do what I do.
that's understandable. Yeah, no, your photography is always amazing. Like, I don't know why. Like, every so often I just see like one of your pictures from like 2020, 2019 or something just randomly appear on my feed because someone reshared it or something. I don't
Oh,
know.
that's cool.
And I was,
Thanks.
yeah, no problem. I
Thank you
mean,
very
I mean,
much.
like every time I talk like photography at all to anyone, like at least in the Five Finger community, they always bring up the photos you took back in like 2019 and all that.
I
And
still
it's so
have, I still have. So anyone watching this, I still have a bunch of prints of like Ivan and um, I think I have a bunch of Ivan and a few more of Hooks too. So if anybody wants any, just let me know. But yeah, that was so like, so I'm just gonna say from a photographer's perspective, there's shows that are, like I said, not very active, and then there's shows where every part of the show is unique, and Five Finger does that. So they get the great stage production, and then Ivan's got a great presence and the way he delivers everything that he delivers, and then every all the flames and everything going on out back. Every person on that team or in the band has such a unique presence, so it makes my job super easy. So
right.
all I got to do is just learn, make sure I know how to use my camera because everything else is done for me. The lighting is awesome. The production is awesome. The band is awesome. I just need to make sure I know what I'm doing here. That's it. It's all done for
Right.
me. So they're one of those bands where it's like you're not gonna get bad stuff unless you don't know what you're doing with your own stuff with your own equipment. So yeah, I'm they just make it super easy for me. In fact, they make it so easy that usually like for a show, I'll shoot like for a show I only get the first three songs on average for a band, depending on what's going on. If I work for the venue and a band comes to town, it's usually I get the first three songs to shoot and that's it. So I get what, maybe 15 minutes worth of photos for that band. And when a band has a great production like that, it's easy for me to take over 1,000 photos just in that 15 minutes. Whereas the average artist, I'll take maybe three to 500 or something like that. So it's easy for me to double my photos, which makes my work twice as long. But it's just they're giving me so much. I'm like, I just got to capture as much as I can. So yeah,
Right.
it's bands like that are just, I mean, they just make my job super easy.
And I love that. Like I don't know why. It's like for the fans, it's always a good experience to see all the great production because it's flawless 9 times
Yeah.
out of 10.
Yeah.
And then for someone like you and like anyone that's doing like photography or media, it makes their job easier in a sense because the lighting is all perfect. Don't got to worry about that. And then, I mean, there's a million different factors to consider.
Yeah. And a lot of bands, well, I don't want to say a lot of bands. There are bands that know how to use every aspect of their presence to benefit them. That's Five Finger does that. And then there are bands that I just don't give a fuck about the lighting, or I don't give a fuck about who's taking photos. I'm just gonna come out there and play my show. People are gonna love it, and I'm just gonna like do my thing. And I don't. I'll let someone else worry about the lighting. I'll let someone else worry about whatever the stage looks like, and you know I'll just let the tour manager worry about the photographers having perspective and stuff like that, or whatever. So it's really noticeable when a band has put that much effort into making sure the fans are getting that experience, but also the photographers get that experience. We get to cover it. So there's been shows where it's just like terrible lighting, and it's a great show. It's just terrible lighting for photography and stuff like that.
Yeah. I
So
noticed that. I noticed that a lot in just general. It's like I don't know why, like they always have like the lights on like the on the up top areas, and it's like, and then like I don't know, just like the way they blend it to the song is either so
yeah,
generic it's just stupid, or
yeah.
like
Yeah, and a lot of those are just like, well, either their lighting person is new, or they're just letting them just kind of figure it out or something like that. A lot of the times, maybe it's just not choreographed or anything like that. Who knows?
yeah, I don't know. I don't pay enough attention anymore. It's just one of those things. I'm just like I see it enough that I'm like, yeah, I don't care anymore. It's
Yeah,
fine. Like,
yeah, yeah.
but so on the topic of all these big bands, right? What are some of the most notable moments in your career? So I know we've talked about how like Five Finger and Shinedown kind of shaped your photography and how your passion, all that. But is there any other notable moments that you think really pivoted
Yeah.
anything?
It's hard to say because I've had a lot of cool stuff and a lot of stuff I just was not. I'm just trying to think of. There's just been so many cool moments and so many different things. I mean, for me, Shinedown is really, really one of the most coolest of the moments I had because I was able to sort of become friends with some of the crew and stuff like that. And, got to talk with the band members and kind of get backstage access or stage access for photography and stuff like that for a lot of their shows. And one of the funny moments I did the Shinedown show, and I forget which show it was or what year it was, but I did a Shinedown show, and I was backstage and I'm taking photos, and Barry, the drummer, goes, "Hey, dude, come over here," and I go over there, and he goes, "Look." and I look, and it's right at the moment where they light up all of the cell phones across the audience. So all the lights are off, and the whole show is only being lit by everyone's cell phone. So I was like, snap, 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 snap. So I got some awesome, amazing photos, and that's from the drummer's perspective. That's the best seat in the house. So that was
Right.
amazing. I think it was the same show. I can't remember, but there was another time where I'm just to this backside stage. Shinedown's playing. They got a lot of pyro and stuff like that. And I know when the pyro is going off on certain songs because I have the set list and stuff like that. And I have earplugs in. And right as the song's most like right at the end, it's going to be the big pyro at the end. My freaking earplug fell out and it was so freaking loud. It was just like pow, and I could feel like the shock wave on my face. And I shook the camera. It was so strong, and it was so loud. My ear was like buzzing for the next 3 days, but it was awesome. I mean, it was fine after that, but it was just like that was intense. It was just, I think it was, I don't know if it was Sound of Madness or Devour. I forget which one. I don't know what song it was, but it was just crazy. And being up on stage and you're just feeling the shock waves come out of those, the pyro and the concussion blasts, whatever they are. That was intense. That was a moment where I'm like, okay, this is a very serious, serious situation up on stage, and they have very, very serious professional people surrounding them, making sure that everything's going the way it's supposed to go. I just got to see it firsthand, and uh, your safety is definitely an important thing when you're backstage.
100%. I agree with that
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, totally.
Um, I mean, hearing protection, for example, is a must any concert, right? And
Yep,
yeah, I feel like that still needs to be talked about more in like the concert scene because I feel like not a lot of
yep,
people talk about it. I feel like it's being talked about more now, but it's
yep.
like that is
I
me.
don't, you yeah, I don't know. It's something that you'll learn real quick if you don't
Oh
know
yeah,
it. Definitely with certain bands in their production, you'll definitely learn it real fast. But I don't know.
I
I don't know.
I've learned that too. I've noticed that like especially when I do security and I'm just standing there just watching people and I have my earplugs in and I always know that like if my earplug slips out, I just notice that like if I don't have hearing protection, I get exhausted really quickly
Oh yeah, yeah, totally.
because you're getting overstimulated by every little thing from I like the sight of the lights to the booming of like all the speakers in your ears.
Yep,
And there's some shows that like I have like earplugs all the way in and like the lighting it just nearly kills me. It's just so
yep,
intense.
yeah. I did. I forget which it was an EDM show. Subtronics, I think it was. And I did that show, and the bass was so, I had protection, but the bass was just so loud, and it was like blasting me. I mean, I was there during sound check, and it was just blasting me. I'm like, holy cow, I can't imagine. And then once you get all the crowd in there, it's like, wow, that is just like, I needed to go sit down. I mean, I'm getting old, but I needed to go sit down after that, first
Oh
three songs.
yeah.
I was like, holy cow, man, that one just kind of winded me.
That's how I feel. Like that's my only complaint about EDM shows is that like the bass and everything combined, no matter how much hearing protection or whatever you have,
Yep,
it's just so intense on your body with all the shock
yep,
waves.
yep,
And like I'm 20, right? And that those EDM shows, I'd say like after about half of the show, I need to like sit down or I'm gonna pass out.
yep. That's totally, yep. I was the same way.
It's so much. It's too much. I don't know. I don't know. It's just too much. That's the best way to put it.
Well, I mean, I get to experience a lot of different shows that I normally wouldn't. So, I get to see EDM, I get to see country, I get to see comedy, I get to see classical and, pop, whatever.
Yeah.
I obviously prefer all the heavy stuff, but I get to see a lot of different shows and I get to really sort of experience those things that, like the heavy bass and stuff like that for EDM shows. And I gotta say, like country, country has like incredible sound systems. Some of these country artists come through and their sound system is just crystal clear and it just like sounds so good. And then you have some bands that come through and I'm like, oh my God, I need to sit down after that because it's just too much for me.
I agree. What's your favorite? What like besides like obviously rock and metal is your thing, but like what in as someone that like sees all kinds of walks of life with the different genres, what is your favorite genre? You'd say to not only watch but do
Well,
photography for.
yeah, I really like, for me, my personal choice is always that radio heavy rock. So I like the Shine Downs, I like the Five Finger, I like, I grew up on Def Leppard and Motley Crue and stuff like that. So, I'm big on the big guitar stuff. I like a good melodic singer with good harmonies and stuff like that. So, but for shooting visually, I mean, there's some bands that are just like, geez, I wish I could remember. Um, oh shoot, what was that band? The band with the sing. I'm spacing out on his name, on the band's name. The singer, I think he's Russian, and he's
Slaughter to Prevail.
yes, yes, yes. So right, last year was it? I've shot them a couple times, man. What a freaking monster show. Uh, um, and that was an epic show to photograph. And then the most the most like crazy show I photographed was, oh shoot, who was the lineup with that? Oh man, I'm spacing out on names right now because it's late. Uh oh shoot. Bear Claw. No, Beartooth. Is it Beartooth?
Yes, Beartooth.
Beartooth, yeah, Beartooth. So I did a show, I think it was Beartooth, and it was Beartooth and Fit for a King, and a couple other bands. And that show was just friggin' nuts. I mean, it was just insane nuts. I was like, I'm in there and I'm in the pit and I'm like constantly looking behind me because there's just legs coming at me left and right from people just diving and going and,
Damn.
surfing. And I'm just like, there was like a couple times where the security guy, I'm facing the stage right here. I'm up against the stage. The security guy is right behind me. And there's been many times where I was just like pushed up against the stage because there's like three people just coming over all at once and it was just chaos. That
Yeah.
was nuts, but that was such a fun show. I mean, stuff like that, when you get people crowd surfing, stuff like that, it's just so much energy that obviously feeds the band, that feeds the crowd, and goes right back and forth, right back and forth. So stuff like that is just amazing energy. But also, that being said, there are artists that are not heavy, that have really, really focused on giving you a visual experience. And I think it was last year or the year, yeah, it was last year. Lindsay Sterling. I don't know if you know who she is. She's a violinist.
I do
She's
not know
like,
who she is.
she's not, I think she did a song with Lizzie Hale. So she has like one song that has singing on it, but I think most of it is like new age, stuff like that. But her show was incredible. And it was just, I had no idea, excuse me, I had no idea what her show was about, but it was just crazy production, all kinds of lights. At one point, she's suspended from the ceiling, and there's like all this stuff raining down, and she's like glowing, and she's upside down playing the violin. I was like, "Holy cow, this is crazy!" And it
What the
sounded
heck?
amazing. Yeah, I know, it was nuts. It was really, really, really cool. And I was, from that point on, I turned into a fan after that show. I don't I mean, I listen to some light stuff, but I'm a heavy dude. But I'm like, her music was really, really good, and her visual production on stage was just incredible. So yeah, that was one of the ones that just kind of, I had no idea, and it just kind of caught me off guard. And I actually went and downloaded a bunch of albums after that show. You just don't know.
There's a lot of crazy productions I've seen. There's like online, like in videos, like randomly
Yeah.
in like Instagram or something, and it's like someone just like doing some crazy shit. Like if it's like, Spencer Charnes from Ice Nine Kills like dives like stage
Yeah.
diving or
Yep.
something, or you know, or I'll go back to like Jason Hook's big thing with like I can't remember what song it was. One of the Five Finger songs where he's on
Yeah.
the
He goes
was
up.
like lifting podium.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, that was my favorite thing for the longest time. I wish I would have been able to go to a live show of them and see
Yep.
that before
Yep.
he left. But my
Yep.
first show, I think, was like a couple weeks after, like not a couple weeks, but like after the Andy James was officially in the band. It
Yep.
was like the first time I saw them.
Yep. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Where'd you see him at?
Where?
Yeah. Where are you again? You in LA?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Okay. That's right. Okay.
So I
Uh,
was at, I think the first time I saw them was at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater.
okay. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Andy James is a monster. I mean, they probably could not find a more suited guitar player. I mean, for me,
Mhm.
obviously, Hook is always going to be the guy. There's nobody that can replace Hook. But
There's like, in my opinion, I feel like Hook was probably the best guitar player they ever had because I don't know, it's just something about how his guitar riffs just blend with everything, and it's just so it has such personality to it. It's weird to say, but it has such a
yeah,
personality to his sound.
it's his style is he's like one of my favorites in every so for me as a guitar player, I grew up on Van Halen and stuff like that. So I liked a lot of the technical guitar stuff. And one of the things that I think that Van Halen always did was he was very clear with all of his notes. Every time he played, you heard every single note, even if it was
Yeah.
coming up fast and stuff like that. And that's the thing with Hook. Hook's got this really unique style, I think, where he's just rocking along and you hear every single note so clean, so clear, and it's just incredible attitude and tone. I mean, I mean, my understanding, I don't know, you can correct me, but my understanding is he wrote a lot of the albums that, a lot of the stuff that were the big songs off of the last couple albums. I mean, the way it was explained to me was he would write and write and write and write, and then most of his stuff would be the stuff that was chosen, is the way I understood it. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah. I mean, I now to be also fair, I think Andy James. You listen to his solo albums, he has got some insane songs and some insane guitar work. But there is definitely a difference between the two. But when it comes to playing, I mean, I think Jason Hook, to me, Jason Hook and what's his name on drums?
Jeremy Spencer
Yeah, Spencer. Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah. Spencer. Yeah, yeah. I think those two guys are the true parts of Five. No, no disrespect to Charlie or Andy. Those guys are awesome. Those guys are super awesome.
oh yeah.
But I just there's a special place in my heart for that Five Finger Death Punch.
I agree 100%. I like Charlie is probably one of my favorite people to talk to. Like
Yep,
he's such a nice guy.
he
He's
is.
so just down to earth and just so I don't know, he's just so honest and open with whatever you ask him. And
Yep,
I love it.
yep,
And
yeah,
I've never engaged with Andy, but I've heard amazing things.
yeah, yeah. Totally. I think those guys are fantastic. But also, my understanding is the dynamic of the band at the time, back when Hook and Spencer were in the band or whatever, it was not healthy, is what I understand it. So I don't think that anyone would survive that over an extended period of time. But who knows?
Who knows? That's
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. There's people that survive toxic situations, you could say, for years and years and are just fine with it because they've
Yeah.
accepted it as reality.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep. Who knows?
who
But yeah,
knows?
it's I mean, I forgot what your original question is, but yeah, Hooks, his guitar playing, he's one of the best, in my opinion, he's one of the best guitar players on the planet doing rock, hard rock, and his songwriting is some of the best in that genre. I um I kept I really, really, you know, I kept like when Eddie passed away, Eddie Van Halen passed away. I kept like messaging him, said, "Dude, you need to go get David Lee Roth, and you need to go do the tribute right now," or something like that.
I can
But
see
yeah,
it. I can 100% see it.
yeah. Well, I mean, they did the Shiprock stuff, and they did a couple Van Halen stuff um, with Sahaj from Raw and stuff like that. But I'm like, man, I would love to see a Van Halen with Jason Hook. You know,
Yes.
that
I
would
feel
be
like it'd be a good
incredible.
fit.
Totally. He
The
would
sound at
fucking
least would
nail
be
it.
right there.
He would fucking nail it. David Lee Roth, Jason Hook, Michael Anthony, and Alex Van Halen. That would be fucking astronomical right there.
I agree.
Make it happen, Hook. If you're watching, make it happen.
Yes, please. We need to see it.
Yes, totally.
Please. But so the original question, I know you said you kind of forgot it. It was like, what were the most notable moments of your career?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I think that Shinedown was really, I mean, the Pop Evil was the one that really kind of sort of made me realize I need to take this seriously. I need to learn my stuff. I need to learn my craft. And then Shinedown was, I really, that's what got me the gig at the venue. I just brought, so, so for that, so if someone's like, how do I get into concert photography? First of all, you learn your gear. Second of all, you figure out how to get access to the shows. And that's for me, like I said, I would bring my guitar, play the show, and then take out the camera if they let me. But for that particular Shinedown show, I brought my point and shoot. Had a little point and shoot, and I just had good seats, and I just took photos. And the venue noticed them. They said, "Hey, we like your photos. Do you want to come in for an interview?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" And then so yeah. So Pop Evil, learn your gear. I figured that out with Pop Evil. Shinedown was now right. Take yourself professionally. Work. Make sure you're only putting out your best work. And then Five Finger was like, now that's when I got to start interacting with the actual artists and start learning what they really want to see and what they like and what they don't like and learning the industry. So those were all like major stepping stones moving through my past. Yeah.
Sounds like a good progression, in my opinion.
Yeah. Thank you.
It honestly, it sounds very consistent, like very like, a good consistent like upward
Yeah.
slope.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's, I can only speak for myself, but it's something that you've got to keep drive. You got to keep yourself moving in an upward direction in regards to your skill set. So if you're passionate about something, you need to make sure you're taking these steps. How do I learn my product, my thing? How do I get passionate about it? Or maybe those are flipped. And then how do I get engaged in active with the professionals that are already in that industry or something like that. So
Yeah.
just keep yourself put, keep setting your goal. Every year I would write whatever the year is, and I'd make a list of my goals for that year. And say, all right, this year I want to do this year I want to do that, whatever. So,
Yeah, I'd say like for me, I do the same thing. And I think going into the year, my goals were just like, I think it was like a lot of them was just like about learning stuff and like engaging with new people that could teach me stuff. And then my other big goal for the year is to do my first tour with a
yeah,
band,
yeah,
which
yeah,
I've
totally.
yet to do. And I
That
came
was,
close a couple of times,
yep,
but schedule conflicts. And then it's just like, damn it. It's always the small things that
yep,
bite you too.
yep. That was my goal for most of the last couple of years was try to figure out how to get on a nice tour. And I didn't want to do, this is before I found out I was sick, but I didn't want to do anything too long. I wanted to do something short so I can just experience it and see if that's the direction I want to continue to go. Because you
Right.
may experience it and then be stuck there for 6 months and think it's fucking sucks, but or you might love it. Who knows? But I wanted to at least have that experience so I can say this is a direction I want to continue to work down. But
100%.
yeah,
Now, once you get past all the cancer stuff, do you think it would be still be something you're interested in, just in general?
it would so this whole cancer stuff definitely changed my perspective on a lot of things. So I don't know the answer to that question yet because I don't know where I'm going to be say 6 months in a year. or multiple years. The When I got cancer, like I said, was busting my ass all summer last year. I was working two jobs. I have my day job and then I was doing the concerts and stuff like that. And all while I'm sick and I didn't even know it. And I'm like, man, this is really getting hard on me. I don't know if I can handle this. And I was coughing, I was losing my voice and all that stuff. And I'm still out there working till 2 o'clock in the morning, shooting photos and all that stuff and editing and then doing my day job and stuff. So it was crazy how much I was working last year. And then it all just immediately stopped just like that because I got sick. And then I had to like really think about what's important to me now,
Mhm.
if this is, you know, I was told back in October of 2024 that if I didn't get treatment, I had 6 months. That's passed, has passed now. So I really had to start looking at things differently and kind of really thinking about what I enjoy, what is it, do I enjoy grinding that much and putting that much work into it? And all that stuff. What are the? I just had to. I'm now at that point where I'm just kind of evaluating those things. So I know
Understandable.
that I know that I love taking photos and I love music and I love concerts. And there are people that I really, really admire, and there are situations that I would like to experience. So I'd still like to experience a tour, but for me now, it has to be something that I feel would be a little bit more comfortable than I would accept. Like I'm not just going to take a van tour. I'm just going to sit in a van with a bunch of guys and we don't get a shower for a week or something like that. I'm not going to do that tour. I would have last year. This year, I don't think I'm going to do anything like that. But if I
Being
get to,
comfortable, that's
yeah,
important, I can
that's
tell.
the thing. If I get my health to a place where it's doable, I probably will, but it'll probably have to be the right circumstance and the right people.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense because I know at least from watching your Facebook and just seeing like your progression with all of what's going on. And I definitely have seen like your attitudes change quite a bit from where you were before, just from my observation. Now
Sure.
I know you don't really put a whole ton of stuff out there from like prior,
Yeah.
like personal stuff, and now I feel like you're putting a lot more personal stuff out there to I'm assuming to educate people for the
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I actually look at social media very different now. Prior to this year, last year, social media was just a tool to kind of express my art. That's all it was. And I would just share as much as I could share. And, if people liked it, great. If they didn't, I don't know, whatever. But back then there's just so much negativity going on. I just wanted to create art and make people look, smile and enjoy it. So that's all I cared about. Now, it's been more focused on my health, and I have so many, I have family members from all over different areas and stuff like that, and friends and stuff like that, all checking in constantly, saying, "Hey, how you doing? How you doing?" And up until like a month ago, I didn't have a voice, so I didn't have the ability to talk to people and stuff like that. So I just kind of use social media as the tool to kind of educate what my status is, what's going on, and then also educate others going through this, because I haven't said this, but this is what I'm going through is a rare thing. Is It's something that's not very common. I guess it's only 5% of lung cancer has what I have or something like that. I'm in a test group of like 500 people or something like that. So it's really rare. So I use that right now. I use social media as a platform just to kind of let people know how I'm doing and give updates and, just kind of give some information for anyone else that will be going through this or something like that, or family members of them.
Yeah, I respect it a lot because when I was younger, my grandpa passed away of cancer when I was like 10 or 11. He had
Really?
like stage 4 in his like
Yep.
leg. And
Oh,
he used to, but
wow.
he could like back in like the 70s or so, he had like really far back. He would work in like chemical plants
Yeah.
with like Allencrot and companies like that.
Yep.
And I mean back then the regulations were so different. So like you'd be exposed to all that shit. And it's just like, oh yeah, go home, deal with it, like whatever. Like
Yep.
it is what it is. And then obviously we're assuming, that's what caused it. And it, I would say from what my mom said, she said it was a really painful process for him,
Yeah.
and that eventually just one day they just pulled the plug on him because he literally told them, "I can't do this anymore. It's too
Yep.
painful to watch my family come in here cry on my bed every day."
Yep. Yeah, that's
And
it's brutal. I'm seeing that now. I'm learning a lot about. I didn't know anything about cancer, so people would come up to me prior to this. People would tell me like, "Oh, I just went through this cancer treatment," or "I have a family member who went through cancer treatment." I didn't know what that means. I don't know. I just know cancer is a sickness. I didn't know anything about what that really means because I never really paid attention to that. So I have all these people around me that are dealing with cancer, and I'm just sort of like, that's really sucks. I'm sorry to hear that, but I really don't know the depth of what that means and what the impact is. And now that I have firsthand what it does, it's just really, really difficult because it's really stressful. So I'm gonna dive down the cancer process if you don't mind for a few minutes.
that's
I know we
fine.
want to talk about photography, but I'm gonna dive into cancer for a little bit. So for me, I was sick all last summer and I didn't know what it was. And it took a long time for them to finally find what I had going on. And then by the time they found it, it was too late. So I've never smoked a day in my life. I've never done anything like that, throughout my entire life. And I was fine and healthy and everything. And then all of a sudden, I have stage 4 lung cancer out of nowhere. And so, if you don't know, stage 4 means it's spread outside to the rest of your body and is no longer controllable. It's no longer curable. It's only manageable, basically. So that means that they can't make it go away, but they can try to squish it down or condense it down to nothing or put it to sleep for a period of time and try to give you as much of a lifespan as they can with treatments. So up until like last, I don't know, 5, 10 years, that treatment was radiation and that was or chemotherapy, and those were very difficult. They would just blast you with that stuff and it would just make you so miserable and so sick. And so it's like, is that how you want to live the rest of your life, by being miserable and sick but being alive? Or do you want the cancer to just do its thing? So it was that was those were the choices you had back then. Now I gotta take breaths here a little bit. Now when it comes to cancer, there's so much more information now, and there's so much more treatments now. So for me, they told me I had stage 4 lung cancer and I had 6 months to live if I don't do treatment. And I was like, what the hell? Where does this come from? I don't have, that's just something I would never expect would be in my, you know, lung cancer is not something I would ever have thought I would have been involved with. I'm sure we'll all get cancer at some stage, but I didn't think it would ever be lung cancer. Um, so they said that there's a trial for the type of cancer I have. So the cancer I have is called ALK mutation, ALK positive or something like that. And they have a trial that's not on the market yet, but if I wanted to do it, uh, it has really low side effects, and there's only 500 people doing it. And did I want to try it? So I said, yeah, let's give it a try. And so I took this trial, and it's literally just all I have to do is just take a pill every day. I just take a pill. That's it. I don't have radiation. I don't have chemo. I just take this pill. And after, so I started that in November. And within, I think by December, we had our first like scans. We do the MRIs and CTs and scans and all that stuff. My cancer had gone down like, I think it was like 40 something percent within a couple months of taking this pill, which is insane because you would have to go through radiation or chemotherapy for like years to get it to anything to happen, or even maybe nothing will happen. So, so that's insane that this pill is doing really well. I'm now a little over 6 months, and my cancer has been reduced by like 60% or 60 something percent. So it's insane that this is doing what it's doing. It's just medicine today is incredible. Um, so anyway, so this drug is not on the market yet. I'm one of 500 doing this test or 600 doing this test. I will probably don't know, but I'll probably have to take this drug for the rest of my life. Um, Most people with this type of lung cancer, if you didn't have this treatment that's going on right now, we don't know what this treatment will do, but most people would have like under 10 years left to live. But they would just that's the average. Now, I know people that are 15 years and still doing great or more. So we don't know what this means. I'm just going to do what I can for as long as I can. And I'm going to be positive about it and do what I can to make the best of everything. But right now, I'm doing great. I am extremely lucky that everything's going the way it's going. I'm very grateful and thankful. And um, I'm just going to do what I can. And everything seems to be working. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to last forever, but I hope so. And I think we're just going to make the best of it. So that's where we're at right now.
I mean, making the best of it is probably like all you can really do, and that's to
Yeah.
my knowledge from knowing people that have been through the process. It's like you just hope for the best, and then you know, probably like I don't know, like a good majority of the time, it usually
Yeah.
goes in your favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to do, I have friends who have been through similar stuff and they've had a hard time with it. And they sort of, it just changed them. It made them, you know, less interactive and all that stuff. And some of it was the actual whatever they were going through, and some of it was their mindset as well. So I think that, you know, no matter what you're going through, you just got to keep focusing on tomorrow and you just got to keep focusing on those goals. I'll be honest with you. If I wasn't so passionate about some stuff, would be a very different conversation. But because
Right.
I'm so passionate, I mean, I should also say that I have young children that I will do everything I can to make sure I'm with them for the rest of my life for a long time. Um, that's priority number one. I should have said that from the beginning. But also because I'm so passionate about my films, my photography, my music, that it really drives me. Like I said, I have goals, and cancer wasn't on any of those goals, and cancer is not going to change those goals. It probably will change some of those, but it's not going to stop my goals and my momentum and stuff like that. I'll just keep doing what I can, and if it physically makes it so I can't do certain things, I'm still going to have other goals in place of that. So
I love that you have such a positive mindset about it because I mean, there's a few friends of mine that I've had over the years that just like they can play as you say, less interactive. They kind
yeah,
of just distance themselves. I've had some that just like shut down. They're just like, I can't
yep,
do this anymore. Like,
yep.
and I mean, you're powering through it, and I love to see it every day whenever I see a post on Facebook or something. It's just like I see it, and I'm like, oh my God, he's doing great. Let's hope for another one, you know?
Well, and I'll also, to be fair, I'm very lucky with the type of treatment I have. Taking a pill, you can't complain about that. Some
Yeah,
people,
you can't.
people getting blasted with radiation every week or 2 weeks or whatever, that's really hard on your body. So I can't compare myself to them, and I can't say that, you know, just be smiling and keep going because there are people doing way worse than I am or going through way worse than I am. But I'm just giving you my perspective of just keep setting goals and just keep kind of focusing on those things and just do what you can.
Well, I hope I continue seeing that.
Yeah.
I'm serious. It makes me smile every time I see an update post from you.
Well, thank you.
It's
Thank you.
just like an unconscious like I cannot wait to see this because it's always I mean you're transparent about all of it and I love it. And
Well,
then
thank you.
some of the updates you put like a 15-minute video up just talking about the details and
Yeah.
it's so educating. I
Well,
think that's
thank
the
you.
right word to use.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it wasn't my intention to have, people I've never met in person before, like yourself. We've talked online and stuff like that. but my intention was never to have people I don't know watch these. This is just mostly for people I know. And it's weird. It freaked me out twice. I was in a public space and someone I did not recognize came up to me and said, I watch your videos. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, I've watched all your cancer videos. I hope you're doing all right. I'm like, how do I know you? How did you find me? Oh, it was just really, there was a couple moments where I was like, I'm extremely grateful and very thankful, but it just caught me off guard. And I was like, I don't, I've just never thought that people would be watching this, outside of my family or something like that, which was my intention. It was just to give my family and friends some information, but it was just freaky seeing people I never know come up to you and tell you like, "Oh, I watch your videos. I hope I'm glad you're doing good." And I'm super grateful, but it was just weird.
I get that. I'm like completely somewhat off topic. I mean, I've had people like my podcast isn't very popular at all, I'll be honest. It's always the same, like, 20, 30 people like chiming in all the time. I've randomly had people walk up to me at like when I'm shopping at the mall with my friend or something, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Hey man, I love your stuff."
Yep.
And it's just like so mind-boggling, at least to me, because I'm just
Yep.
like, nobody watches my stuff. Like, who are you? Like,
Yep. Yep.
so I understand that 100%. It's
That's
like
awesome.
weird.
That's awesome. So how long have you been doing the podcast now? Because I've listened to you. You showed me. You reached out to me what at Christmas time, and that's when I
Something
started
like that.
listening. Yeah. Yeah.
What have you listened to,
I
if
gotta
you can
remember.
remember?
I gotta remember. I listened to you and shoot, I can't remember now. It was because this was. Remember, I was listening to you while I was sick, so I was sitting at home just
Yeah.
listening to podcasts all day. So I can't remember who.
I know I
Who
sent you the Helga and Joker
That's
one.
yeah, that one, that one. Yeah. And then I listened to
I can't, I'd have to pull up the conversation. I think I sent you the David Straff of Solon's one. I can't remember.
maybe I don't remember. Honestly, don't remember. I just went through and list from when you sent me. I just had them on like repeat or not repeat, but I had them on one after the next when I was just sick, sitting on the couch or whatever. And I would just
Did you
listen to
enjoy them at
podcasts all day.
least?
Of course, man. I think actually your production has actually gone way up too. Quality of your
Yeah.
show and stuff like that.
I think like now compared to then, I'll tell you right now, I'd say like because most of those episodes aren't actually really publicly published. You can only find it if you have like certain playlist access or something,
Yeah,
because I have
yeah,
them invisible.
yeah.
Because I don't, I'm just self-conscious about the production because I know it was bad and I feel like I could have made so many better opportunities out of it.
We all
But
start. Yeah, we start,
but
we learn.
we start somewhere,
Yeah,
and it's just yeah, I think the production's gone up because I actually, it's weird. I actually edited everything myself back then.
yep,
And then I took like a couple, like a year and a half, 2 year break from it because I'm just like, man, this is draining. And it's like, it's not doing what I think it should
yep,
do
yep.
when I'm putting all this energy and effort into it. It's like getting no reach at all. And then I just, I remember I just came back to it. And then when I came back to it, I hired an editor that she really wants to learn how to, edit stuff better. And she needed practice. And I wasn't looking for anything too
Yep.
crazy besides, add an intro, outro clip and go through. And if you feel something isn't, the flow isn't right, cut it out. Or
Yep.
if you feel
Kills.
it's
Yep.
insignificant or
Yep.
something, just chop it out.
Yep.
And she
That
does amazing.
that's
I
awesome.
don't really I don't really watch half of them after she edits them and I get good
Yeah.
feedback. So it's
Yeah.
like,
That's great, dude. And it takes, one thing I've learned with the podcast is it just takes forever. And then eventually something happens. It
yeah,
just, you just work and grind and do it and do it and do it. And then somehow something clicks and then it just starts rolling.
yeah.
So you just got to keep pushing.
And I feel like it'll grow as I like get further into my career of wanting to travel on the road and stuff because I want to do like long term, I want to do tour and production management
Oh, nice. Yeah.
because most of my background's department management.
Yep.
So when I got encouraged by a few industry people that I'm not going to name for professional reasons, but they're very well known, and they kept pushing me and just being like, dude, like corporate life isn't treating you very well, you should just take your shot and just go into the music industry, go be a stagehand, learn
Yep.
some shit, and get back to me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was just, and and then after that, it was just like got encouraged to like the podcast opened the doors to network with people by meeting people and just hoping it leads to something. Like someone said something about me to someone, and it ends
Yep.
up leading to me sending a resume somewhere. I don't know. And
Yep. Yeah,
then
that's pretty much how it
hopefully,
works. I mean, that's from what everyone I've talked to. It's like you just got to get out there and do it, and then your name gets spread around. You
yeah.
know, it's just a matter of getting out there, making it happen, and then just be a good dude. And people will remember you.
And I always try to. I always try to. My thing every day when I walk into work is have a smile on my face because I want to be here
That's right.
and just be nice to everybody. And if I click with a road crew person, then that's
Yep.
my person all night. We just shoot
Yep.
shit kind of thing, have fun,
Yep.
enjoy ourselves, and keep it professional at the same time. It's
Yep. Absolutely.
but if you were to critique my podcast at all or anything you think I'm doing, is there anything you think I should do different out of your experience of trying to grow your own platform, your own voice?
The only, um, I think production wise, you're on the right path. You're getting, I think production, your audio and video is good. I think the only thing I would think, I don't really know if this is true, but I think maybe see if you can get big name like guests to help bring in an audience. I noticed for me when I was doing the podcast, when we started off by just doing photographers, and then I started having artists on, and then I started having crew on and all these different stuff. And I noticed certain people really brought a large audience that I had no clue. I didn't even expect. And I would say that, I don't know, just experiment with your guests and, you know, keep, I mean, because I just don't know until you do it. And then with podcasting, there's just so many, and it's a very competitive field. There's just tons of podcasts out there. So you just got to kind of keep doing it, making yourself feel comfortable and confident. And then my only feedback is you try your guests, try to be creative with your guests, or have a more variety in guests, I guess. I don't know. And that, because you just don't know who clicks, and stuff like that.
Understandable. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 100% accurate, honestly. I've tried getting bigger guests, but like a lot of them just look at they ask me for detailed stat breakdowns and they're like, oh, like I
Yep.
don't like the look of this.
Yep.
Sorry, like can't do it
Yep.
because there'd be no benefit for them
Yeah,
getting out of
totally.
it
It's
either. And
all it's
it's
all
just,
advertisement. It's all advertisement for everybody. That's all it really is.
I hate that sometimes because
Yeah.
I don't care where this goes personally. I
Yeah,
do,
totally.
but I don't. And it's one of those things of like, I just want you to get on a Zoom call with me and talk to me and just meet me and have a conversation, a genuine, honest conversation. Like I don't really push into subjects really. It's just wherever
Yep.
the conversation goes. That's how I do
Yep.
it. I don't
Yep.
really map out specific things like, oh, tell me the release date of your new album, and I get really pushy to try to get confidential information.
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
do that. And I always tell guests before, I kind of did it with you. If I start pushing into a subject you don't want me to do, tell me.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, I mean, I care, but it's like, whatever you want to talk about, whatever we just stumble upon, just
Yep.
go.
Yeah. It's a tricky, like I said, there's so many podcasts. It's hard to know why some stick and why some don't,
Yeah.
because there are so many variations, and everyone's listening to podcasts now. So it's like it's the best time to be doing a podcast, but at the same time, how do you stick out? So I don't know.
Yeah. That was my perspective. And I appreciate yours as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
I'm grateful that you think my production quality has gone up. I love that
Yeah, I
actually.
mean the biggest thing for me, like if I'm a podcast listener, this is the one thing I hate about podcasts is when people use microphones from their laptops. They have a Zoom call and it's just two laptops, and you're like, that sounds horrible. I'm trying to listen to the podcast while I'm in the shower, and I can only hear one person talking. The other person sounds like they're in a room way, way far away. I'm like, that drives me nuts. I want to hear clear audio from both people or all the people talking. I don't want to hear great
Exactly.
microphone and then a terrible laptop microphone or something
Yeah,
like
it's like, I've had that before. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but I've had a few episodes where it was just like, I go in here with my microphone and then the guest has like, I don't know, AirPod
that. Yep.
speak microphone or headphones or laptop audio, and it's just like you sit there and if it's not that, it's the delay
Yep.
of the response. It's like a solid 2 seconds and then it's just like all jarbled.
Yep. I've been through that in the Wi-Fi connection and people keep dropping off. I've had all those things. The thing that I remember once that drove me nuts, is so embarrassing, is I was talking through my microphone. Come to find out, this microphone was never on the whole time, and I was just using the camera mic. I was using the camera microphone, and it was like it sounded terrible. I was like, "Oh man, that's so stupid."
And you wish someone would have told you, be like, that
Yeah,
microphone looks like it probably does a little better. Can you
yeah,
double
yeah,
check?
yeah. No kidding. But it's just
I
one of
don't, I
those
don't, I
things.
don't, I don't think people really think that far into it when they're also recording either.
No,
Like at
no,
least
no.
guests.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it is what it is, and you just learn as you go.
Yeah, that sounds like everything. Honestly, when you're doing like a DIY space, you know what I mean?
That's the
Like
whole
doing it
creative.
yourself is just,
Yeah, the whole creative world is basically just figure it out and see what sticks.
and that's awesome. You know, it's just, I feel like the people that do best, in my opinion, are the ones that go around and like, collaborate with each other in the sense of like, what do you do that goes good? And then this,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want to get into that personally, just because it's one of those things of like, what's relevant, what's not, what sticks, what doesn't.
yeah,
And it's like, then you get into like what's trending, what's not. And it's just, and it
yeah.
becomes a full time job paying attention to that.
Yeah, and that also you run the risk of sounding samey because now you sound like that other person that you are collaborating with, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's I don't know, it's a balance. I mean, a band that I really really admire their songwriting is Papa Roach
Oh,
because
yeah.
their songwriting is just so damn good. And every album, I mean, they sound like Papa Roach. Every album sounds like Papa Roach, but their creativity and their songwriting is it changes so drastically sometimes, and it's just so some of the stuff they come up with is just like, man, that sounds even better than the last album. So
Right.
Papa Roach is a band that I'm like, every time they announce an album, I'm like, man, I really want to hear this album because they do so. Even if I don't like the album, there's always that one banger. And I'm like, oh, dude, this song is just freaking slaps. But like, Papa Roach, I just love their songwriting.
I love it too. It's always so unique. And it's just like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like the songwriting, it makes everything sound different and unique. And it's just, it's them every time you hear it. And
Yep,
it's compared to some that just like, you could say sound the same with their songwriting,
yep,
because maybe like they just become really well known for one specific type of thing. And then
yep,
it's just like they just keep trying to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And no hard feelings to anyone that does that. I feel
They're-
like that's when they just start sounding generic. And then it's just like, I don't like
yeah.
this anymore. Like,
I mean, there are bands. I mean, AC/DC is a great example of a band that is still one of the biggest bands in the world, and they just keep writing the same song over and over again, or same style of song, and they all sound awesome. But it's just that's some bands are good at that, some bands are not.
fair point. That's actually a very valid thing to say. I I mean, like every band artist, I mean, they have their thing that makes them popular, and that's the whole thing. It's like
Yeah.
AC/DC and like old classic rock bands like that. That's what they do.
Yep.
They just
Yep.
no hard feelings to anyone, but they write the same shit like 100 times, and it just sounds amazing,
Yep.
and people
That's
just
who
go
they
ape shit over it.
And then people actually expect that from them.
And if they do something different, it's just like, what the fuck, man? It sounds like not like you. And it's like,
Yeah, you sound like someone else now.
now, did you ever run into that when you were writing music yourself? Like when you were in your
Yeah,
band?
yeah. I mean, I didn't really. We didn't get that far to have multiple albums to sound like. So we released an album, Acoustified. My band, Acoustified, released an album in 2016 or something like that. And it's kind of like an EP. It's like 7 songs or something like that. And um, I had a bunch of songs we were going to start working on album two, and then COVID happened, and everything kind of got messed up from there. And then my photography became more of a priority. So we never started work on the second album. I have a bunch of songs that I was intending to start working on. I have riffs and ideas and stuff like that, but so I never got to the point where is the second album sound like the first album? I don't know yet. We haven't done it yet.
Fair.
My, that is on my goal list to do. One of the things when I've been sick, from November till now, pretty much, I've been locked away. I couldn't do much. I was really sick. All I thought about was playing music. So that's kind of a pretty strong passion right now is to kind of get back into the music a little bit. But I also have a movie I started shooting in 23 and 24 that I need to finish editing, and we need to shoot some more stuff for that, which I don't know when we'll do that, maybe in the fall if I feel good. So I'm still working on that stuff too. So I keep like cycling between music, film, photography, and I keep kind of jumping back and forth between the two, but between the three. So I think this summer I'll probably be doing some photos, and then I need to edit some video, and then I'll write some songs. I don't know. I'm just gonna let it all happen when it happens. If it happens, I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds fair. I love that. I love that. I love that you're like a jack of all trades guy, but in the sense, but at the same time, they all kind of correlate with each other, you could say. So,
Yeah, I was just always one of those people who's like, if I can't, I don't have the money to hire somebody, so I got to figure it out how to do it myself. So
sure.
when we were a band, I was like, I can't afford to go in a studio. I already have the equipment. I need to figure out how to do it here and how to do it professionally and stuff like that. So hopefully it came out professional. So if anyone wants, if you just go look up acoustified .com, you can find the album and you can listen and see if it sounds professional or not. But it's on all of the uh, media places, all the music shops. Acoustified. There's a couple other bands called Acoustified, but we're the only one that's actually rock.
Well, guess what? If it makes you feel better, I'll put it in the description of the podcast on
There we
YouTube
go.
and
Yeah,
everything so that
there we go.
people can
Thank
just
you.
click on it. Easy.
There you go.
I'll
That
make it
works.
easy.
That works. Thank you.
Now, the next question I want to ask, it's a bit it's very similar to the last one I asked about like what are your most notable moments, but um who are some of the most, I guess, people specifically, like specific people that had the biggest impacts on not only like your career, but maybe life and how you look at things and how you do things?
That's a good question. I mean, you think about. I mean, there's artists out there, musically, photography, art, visually, film and sound and photography and all that stuff that have really been like very inspirational. I don't know if they've inspired my life. When it comes to my life, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I have to think about that for a second because I don't think I've ever thought about that. Um, for my life, made a inspiration for my life. I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I would like to say, my mother was a big inspiration for my life because my mother was very motivated and she was very driven and she was in the situation. I mean, I think she has a lot of the same mentality that I do about if it sucks, you just gotta work your way through it and keep moving forward. So I think my mother is a you know, big inspiration in regards to who I am and why I do what I do. Um, in the photography world, when it comes to photography, who I'm inspired by, there's a lot of really nice photographers out there. And I'll say, um, Ross Helfand has always been the biggest. He's that classic photographer from, 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way up to now. I mean, he's done all the Metallica stuff. He did all of the Ozzy stuff. He's done everybody's stuff. So his work is just insane. And then you look at someone who's out there right now, like Sanjay, he's out with Shinedown right now. His work is always awesome, and I think I learned a lot from him in regards to technique and style and composition and stuff like that. There are a few other artists or photographers that I think are pretty new. I mean, they've been in the industry for a while, probably as long as I have, and maybe longer. I can't remember. There's a couple out there that are just insane. Their live photography. I can't remember the names. That sucks because they're really good.
I
But
will Sanjay. I will say Sanjay is someone I've gravitated to actually watching on social media in the sense of just like his photos and the
yeah,
progression and how good they are. I will say like he definitely is he's up there with the modern photographers, honestly, like
yeah,
some of the best.
he is. In my opinion, he's one of the best in rock. He's one of the best photographers on tour right now. I think that his work is really, really unique. I think his style is unique. I love his video production. I mean, I think he focuses more on video now, but he still does a lot of equal photography and stuff like that. And he's got a really cool setup too. I don't know if you've ever watched any of his videos on his post, but he's got an actual rig. Shinedown hooked him up with an actual setup where they just roll, the big cases that they have for all the amps and stuff. He has his photography set up in there. It's really amazing. So that's really cool. Yeah, I'm on the spot, so I can't think of anything. As soon as we're done talking, I'll be like, oh, what about that person or whatever. There's a couple. There are several photographers that I just like. Every time they post, I get notifications because I just love their work so much, and I'm just spacing out on who they are.
You can
And
always pull your phone out and look real quick. You can always pull your phone out
I
and look.
could let me just look and see. Let's see who pops up here. Um, Hold on one second here. I gotta kind of log back into stuff here. Let's see who shows up on my list here. Hang on. All right, and there's a lot of advertisements.
That's the one thing I hate about social media now is like
It's all
all of it's just
advertisements now.
ads.
Yeah, it's all advertisements. Yeah, and it's all who's oh man.
So this is such a weird one to say, honestly. I've noticed that ever since COVID, that I don't know if it's just me. I have other friends that say the same thing, but pornography has been a really big thing on the rise for some reason, like in advertisements, or at least that's been like a big center of advertisements. And I'm like, I don't like it. Like I've
Yeah,
never engaged with that content, and it's like, why is it like all the advertisements I see?
yeah,
And
yeah,
like,
yeah, totally. And I think it's been mostly like I think it's been people like spending too much time at home, basically.
yeah,
COVID made everyone stay home, and I think people are just kind of getting carried away with all that. I don't know. Who
yeah, I
knows?
don't
Who
know.
knows?
I don't know. But that was just my wild random thought of the moment. I was just like, man, social media, like that's the one thing like I can say I never go a day without seeing anymore is advertisements for that
Yeah,
crap. And I'm like,
yeah,
no
yeah.
one needs to see that. Show me
Tons of it.
some rock and metal, album pre-save crap. I don't
Yeah,
know. Show me
yeah,
that, please.
yeah. I'm just looking through. I'm not seeing anything.
No?
No, it's all advertisements or freaking political stuff, and I could
Ugh.
care less about political stuff. That's for sure.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not seeing
same here.
anything. All right. Well,
Well, we tried.
well, yeah. I mean. there are some amazing photographers out there, and I'm just spacing out on who they are. That's terrible, but I'm sorry.
As you said, the second we press that stop recording button, it's gonna all come to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I do the same stuff when I'm put on the spot about things like
Yep,
that.
yep, totally.
Man,
I'm not prepared. I don't do interviews. I don't get interviewed, so I don't really think about those questions. So they kind of catch me off guard. So
to me, I feel like it's shocking that you don't get interviewed because you just I don't know. You're Jason the acoustified guy. Like that's just I don't know, for years that's just how I think of it. It's just like I don't know.
I don't. I think there's more exciting people. I'm just a guy with a camera.
I mean, you can say that about a lot of the rock and roll photographers, honestly.
Sure, sure, sure.
But anyway, to move the conversation a little bit differently, we can get to some fun questions. Okay.
All right.
In the current modern day, what are some artists that you say that are up and coming that you think are really good?
Um. Oh man, you're gonna put me on the spot. So there's. All right. Let me look at my playlist. Hold on one second. I can do that. I know there's stuff on there. So I like a good heavy melodic song. So I don't know what, you know, people prefer, but that I like a good heavy melodic rock song. That's why I like a lot of, you know, for me, Five Finger, my favorite album was Wrong Side, you know. I thought,
Yeah.
Wrong Side
Volume
had
one or two.
shoot, now you're asking me because I just have it on as I have them all I'll tell you in a second. Hold on.
Okay, okay.
All right.
Sorry, I keep putting you on the spot about all this.
I'm just
the second I
not
see your
prepared.
face,
Not prepared at all. This is terrible of me. I will let me open this up. Let me open my songs that I just added recently. So I Prevail is an awesome band, but they're not new and upcoming. Um, here's all the songs I just added right here. So, well, none of these are new. Wage War is an awesome band. I really like. I mean, they're not. I don't know if you consider them new because they've been around for at least a couple of years. They were a
I wouldn't
really
say
good
they're no.
band.
I would say like bands under 10 years old. Or
Yeah, I mean, they're
actually,
definitely
no, there's some upcoming bands that are over 10 years old that are just getting traction. Fine.
that's true.
We'll
That's
hold
true.
this. We'll change the question.
Yeah. Okay.
What are the hot bands on your
Yeah. So
playlist right now?
let me go to this playlist. My favorites. Where did it go? Right here. And let me see here. I don't know how old these are. Hold on. Let me go down to the bottom here because that's where all the new ones are. Nope, that's not the new ones. Sorry. All right. So I'm just gonna tell you. I'm just gonna walk right down this list of songs here and artists here, and you can, you know, Flat Black is number one. I don't know if you can see that. Number one is Flat Black. uh,
Expected.
Mammoth Van Halen, Wolfie Van Halen band. I just love his stuff. Bad Wolves. I'm a big Bad Wolves fan.
I love them too.
Yep. Um, well, in this moment, No Resolve, Linkin Park. I mean, none of these are new. Nine Lashes. That's like a Christian band. Papa Roach. The Warning. Stone Sour. That's not new. Here's all my new stuff. Maybe it's down at the bottom.
I think on Spotify it's all on the bottom. Or Apple Music. I think it
Yeah.
always goes to the bottom.
So Breaking Benjamin, Starset, um, Lakeview. I don't really care for that one. Falling in Reverse. Keith Wallen. Oh yeah, I should say Keith Wallen's awesome. So he's the guitar player for Breaking Benjamin, and he just put out a new album, and I think it's awesome. I
I'll have to
Prevail.
check it out.
Yeah. Pop Evil. This isn't really a good list here. I don't know where all my. I am completely unprepared. Let's look at this list right here. Following
It's
reverse, don't
perfectly fine. Take
register.
your time.
Godsmack. This is really exciting to listen to right now. Someone's standing in the shower listening to us talk about what's on my phone. 6 a.m. I love 6 a.m. Archetypes Collide. Autumn Kings. Fame on Fire. Uh, Fame on Fire. Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty good. Let me look at this list here. I Prevail. Yeah, Papa Roach. Yeah, it's pretty much kind of the same ones. The Broken View. Keith Wallen, 30 Seconds to Mars, Linkin Park. So it's a mix. A lot of
The mix.
6 a.m., a lot of 6 a.m., a lot of Linkin Park, a lot of Papa Roach, a lot of Shinedown, Five Finger. Yeah, it's
A lot of the names you've mentioned quite a bit too.
yeah. It's a lot of the same ones. Yeah. Just look one last time over here. Yeah, I'm not doing real good at these questions so far. So I don't know if you
You're
want to move on to
fine.
the second one. Your audience members are like, dude, move on.
Move on. Shit. As I said, I didn't really prepare much for this either. I've been busy.
That's yeah,
Um,
we both got a lot going on. No worries. Well,
if any,
let me ask you a
sure,
question. All right.
sure.
So, what are your top five bands right now?
Ugh, not really hard. Like I'd say three of them aren't a hard one for me.
Okay.
Solence.
Hmm.
Solence is a good one right now. TX2, The Funeral Portrait. Ice Nine Kills is up there,
Yep.
and then Electric Callboy's another one.
Yeah, those guys are great. That's one. That's a show I want to go to because I haven't been to one yet, and
Yeah,
the crowd is pretty crazy on that. I
I
kind of
agree.
want
I
to
watch
go.
film all the time of like Electric Callboy and stuff, and it's
Yep.
just pyro, confetti,
Yep.
and it's just like this and that, and then it's just like, dude, I want to just and like I mean, there's like display like screens and stuff.
Yep.
There's always such amazing work with that. It's crazy. I've
All
never
right.
seen them live before. I want to.
Yeah, they're on my list. All right, let me ask you another question. If you could go out with one tour that had
Okay.
happened in the past, what would it be?
Out on a tour.
That happened in the past, so it can't be something new.
Happened in the past. Shit. Um, that's a hard one. I would say it's a five finger tour,
Yeah,
but it was back before Ice Nine Kills, I think, was a big thing.
yeah.
I think it was Five Finger, Ice Nine Kills, and I Prevail.
Oh,
I
nice.
think.
Yep, yep,
I think, if I remember correctly, I think that one was easily like 6 years ago,
yep.
7 years ago though.
That would have been a crazy
And
one. Yeah,
but that's probably it right there.
yeah. I
Yeah, that's
would.
probably like an old one because that was supposed to be my first ever Five Finger show, and then I think either there was a cancellation or something with the one in St. Louis, and then the next one I tried going to was got like cut off from COVID,
Yeah,
and then it was we all know what happened with that.
yeah, yep. That's yeah, definitely. For me, I would go back and I would love to be the photographer for the Metallica Guns N' Roses tour back in like was it 91 or something like that?
Oh yes,
That would have been
yes, that sounds
insane.
amazing.
That would have been insane.
Now I have a question then.
All
If
right.
you could go to any show from the past that you may have been to or you missed the opportunity to go to, um, from the past, what concert would it be?
So for me, as a photographer, there's a couple that I missed that I wanted to go to really bad. And one on the top of the list was the Bromstein show. That they did the Boston show and it was I watched the video. They had so much freaking pyro all around everywhere. It was just so insane. I wanted to go to that show so bad.
Yeah, I'd say Rammstein is one of those bands I want to go see too. Like
Yeah.
just if for some reason I've wind my way up in Europe somewhere and they're playing, like
Yeah.
please just take
I
me
just,
because
yeah.
just I don't know, their crowds are always huge for those guys, and it's just
It's
so
it's such
energy.
a weird because I'm not a big Rammstein fan, but I know several of their songs, and it's such a experience to be at their show.
It definitely does. I mean, the amount of, as you said, the pyro work in those shows is just crazy.
Yeah. And
And
another band right now that has crazy pyro is Parkway Drive. Have you been to any of their
I haven't
shows?
seen their stage sets. No, I haven't
Oh,
even been to one of their shows.
you gotta go on YouTube and watch one of their more recent tours. It's like the singer gets on this platform that goes up, and then it's all surrounded by pyro while he's up above the crowd and stuff like that. And there's pyro on the stage. It's just crazy. It's just fire everywhere.
That's
Everything's on fire.
I love that. I mean, Disturbed is the same way.
Yep. Yeah,
Disturbed is like
I did
I don't know.
Disturbed in 23, I think it was. And yeah, there
Yeah,
in fact, that show they had to turn down their pyro because the night before it kept setting off the smoke alarms, and they kept having to cancel stop the show for the fire marshal to come in and approve everything. So when they did the show at our venue, they had to turn down some of their flames. So I was like, bummer.
I think I read something about how they were at the Chicago Bulls arena and they ended up burning one of the
Yes.
championship flags.
Yes. It was a
That
flag or
that's crazy in
jersey or
itself.
something. Yeah. Yeah, that was this year, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I'm like that's just I don't know if they're doing shit like that. You know, it's just a lot of pyro and it's
It's
amazing.
intense. It's intense. Yeah, totally. They put on awesome show. I love Disturbed Live. They put on a incredible show. Even if you don't like their music, whatever, I don't care. They put on a intense show. It's awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna go to the one they had with 3 Days Grace
Yeah. Oh,
recently, like
yeah.
this last. I
Yep.
wish I would have gone to that one because I really want to see the new 3 Days Grace
Me
2.0 as they
too.
call it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Definitely. I think they may be coming later this summer. I think I'm hoping I'm filling up to going to that one. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I just like I'm really interested because I haven't seen much like of the film of it, and I just really want to just see how Adam and Matt just work on the stage together
Yep.
and how
Yep.
they like do the crowd work and everything, and
Yep.
just duetting the whole thing.
Yep. Yeah, I totally that would be I mean, I hope this summer we can see it. I'm hoping.
Me too. There's I've heard there's some really interesting shows coming through this summer. Oh, out here in St. Louis. There's a very decent lineup this summer.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. Um, some of it for me, a lot of the shows coming to my area, to the Boston area, some of them are a lot, or New Hampshire area are a lot of the same tours as the previous year, but there's also a lot of new cool stuff coming to Boston. So I'm hoping to kind of bounce back and forth between them.
Yeah, because I mean, all the stuff I want to see, all the stuff I really want to see, it's like if it's not the same crap from like last year, it's a lot of stuff I want to see are also kind of skipping St.
Yeah.
Louis. They're going to like Kansas City,
Yeah.
which is like 3, 4 hours away, and then it's just, and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It's, but it's just like they're either skipping us or it's just to me, it's like there's a lot of really good shows, but I also feel like it's an off year, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, I don't, it looks like it's going to be a very busy summer. I hope. I will see. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I hope it is too for me too. But yeah, I'm gonna answer the question I asked you. Is there's a past show that you wish you could have gone to? I'd say I really wish I would have sucked it up and gone to the Final Kiss tour that they
Oh,
did
yeah. Totally.
because that's a band that I haven't been a huge fan of growing up, but like as my appreciation for music has grown, it makes me really want to experience a Kiss show.
Yep. And
And
that's a
now
bit,
you can't.
yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see. But
We'll see.
the bands always seem to be coming back out of nowhere. But that's one of the bands that, for me as a photographer, I don't have to do anything because they do all the work for me. They have all the lighting, they have perfect lighting, they have perfect stage setups. They play exactly to the camera. They know exactly it's Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons. They work the cameras. All I have to do is just know my equipment. Everything does it for me.
I mean, that'd be cool. They just see you walk up and they're just, posing, doing their shit or
They
whatever. And
do,
it's just,
yeah.
and you're
They
just sitting
totally.
there just like gold. It's like a pot of gold at the end of the
Yep.
rainbow.
It's funny because I have a bunch of photos. I have, let me see. I have, there are bands that pose for me. So I have photos of Falling in Reverse. I have Ronnie Posey. I have Ronnie giving me the peace sign. I have, what's his name from Hollywood Undead? He's like giving me a thumbs up and stuff like that. I have a bunch of cool shots of artists posing for me. It's awesome when that happens.
Yeah, at least it's like awesome because it's like they appreciate what you're doing enough that they're just like, hey,
Yep.
like they just do it the thing.
Yep.
Where there's some artists that just don't know what to do. And they're just
Yep.
like they see a camera and they're like, oh, what do I do?
And a lot of artists don't want to be photographed too. So there's artists that like just like they'll just kind of they'll play or sing or whatever, and then they'll move way back to the stage so they don't get their photos taken or whatever. That's
Yeah,
fine.
and or like they hope it's not a good shot so that it doesn't get posted or something. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah. Yep. There are, I mean, for us, there our goal is to make the artist look good. So that should be my job is to make sure I'm getting good shots and also only selecting the good shots. I don't share everything. I only share the ones that I think are complimentary to that artist. And that
Sounds about
wasn't
right.
always the case. It took me a little bit to learn what was considered complimentary to an artist too. I had to learn that. So some of my
It's
old
the
photos,
it's the learning curve of all of it,
yeah,
of what's good
I
and
look
what's
at some
not.
of my old photos and there's like people that are like, I'm like, what was I thinking? They're like, they're facially like, like that, they're like, what are you thinking? But you learn.
I'd say so. Another question I could ask is it's a little bit of a gearhead question, you could say. What's your favorite camera to use?
My camera that I love to use the most right now is the Sony A7R5 with the 50 millimeter lens. That's my go-to for almost everything. That's where I start, and then I will adjust with different settings and stuff like that as needed. But Sony, I think a lot of the industry in the music industry, music photography industry has a lot. Sony has really sort of started dominating within the last, 5 years or so. I think everyone's sort of morphing over to Sony. There's still a good mix of different brands, but I think Sony's probably the most that I've seen out there because it does great, great photography. It also does great, great video, so I can do whatever I need with that. So yeah, I'm a big Sony guy.
I like Sony too. Um, I don't do photography, but just their products always do me well. Never
Yep,
have a complaint.
yep.
I will say, Chandler, what's your opinion on like Canon cameras? Like, what do you think they're really best for? Because I don't know. I just feel like Canon was always just that brand that like you just hear and it's like that's the photography brand. And then
Yep.
I hate their products personally, but that's just me.
I started off with Canon. That was my first camera. And I actually learned a lot. Canon's actually, I mean, they're all awesome. All cameras are awesome unless it's some no-name brand or something like that. Everything today, the sensors, the quality, everything is just out of control, high end. So I mean, you can't go wrong with any Nikon, Sony, Canon, Leica, all kinds. They're all just awesome now. But I just use all Sony.
Yeah, I feel like technology in general has gone like really amazing in the last couple of years too. Like in the last
Yep,
5 years, it's
yep,
everything's just like amazing. It's
yep,
it's it's so weird. Like even phone cameras now are just
yep,
uh, like you get them in the right position, right lighting, and it's just amazing. And you're just
if
like,
you,
did a
yep.
professional take that or what?
Yeah, they're I mean, if you know how to use them, you can really get some amazing stuff. I've actually been to shows where I'm like, I don't have anything. I don't have my camera. I can't go to a show and not take pictures. That's just even when I don't, I just I feel naked without my camera when I'm at a concert now. So most of it's on my phone, kind of, taking shots and trying to get a good shot and stuff like that. So yeah, the phones have really awesome cameras now.
It's just so interesting. It makes me think now. I'm like, is the reason phones are so expensive because of the camera, or is it like something else? I don't know.
I'm sure it's something else and the camera. I'm sure it's like we can sell, Apple can sell, freaking a box of rocks for $1,000 of, whatever. Everyone's gonna buy it. Um, I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
I'm sure they have a great profit margin on their phones. Their phones are cool, but it's all that technology. It gets better every year.
Understandable. Yeah, no. And getting more into gearhead questions. What about guitars? Favorite guitars?
Yeah, I like I have a guitar that I love. It's my favorite guitar. I've used it for a long time, and it's a company that's not in use around anymore. It's called a Fernandez, and it has a beautiful sound. It has a nice sustainer pickup, and it sounds really good. I use it for all my recordings and stuff like that. And I wanted to buy a second one, and I could not find it anywhere. They're almost impossible to find anymore because they stopped making them back in, I think 2020 is when they stopped. And it was just it was kind of they're like a little side company from like I don't think it's I don't think it's Fender or something like that, but they were a little side company, and they just made some really nice guitars. Most of the guitars I didn't like, but this one particular model that I have, it's just been my favorite. That's all I've ever used, and I just bummed that I can't find a second one.
Understandable. I hate that when they like when you find that perfect thing and then like they stop making it or they don't
Yes,
support the parts anymore or something, and it's like
yes,
it's just drives you nuts because
yes.
I'm a guitar guy. I'm not too good with playing it. I'm my instrument my go-to instrument's the cello.
Oh, no,
That's
oh,
just
nice.
I'm a
I
string player. That's my cliche.
I have a
But
cello, but I haven't played it. I literally
it's
just
a
dug it out of my closet. Yeah.
I'd say the cello is one of those instruments. It's like me and David Straff actually talked about this one time. We were talking about it and we were talking about how like the instrument has you have to have a certain skill and comfort level with it to make it sound good. Like it takes years of practicing before you even start to sound clear. And
Yep.
that's sad. It's so sad because you can play a guitar note that's just clear. If you know like generally like the pressure to put on the strings and stuff, it can sound good. And it's really I hate saying simple because I find guitar very difficult, but I mean it has a more simple thing where I feel where I've always noticed the cello and all those string instruments, you have to have a level of perfection with the craft of it before it
Yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah. Totally. They're very delicate too. I mean, in regards to their notes and stuff like that. So
Yes.
I many years ago, I don't remember how long ago, I wanted a cello because I wanted to do, actually, when I was recording the album, I wanted to do, my thought was I wanted to do a guitar track and then I wanted to double it with a cello. So it was a guitar cello like hybrid, blended sound. And I was like, man, that might make a cool sound, but I got the cello and I never actually learned to play it. So it never went anywhere.
Yeah, it's a very touchy instrument. I'd say like I'd say the only ones, at least for my opinion, one of my biggest pet peeves with it is like you could be going really hard with it, and then like if you don't have the greatest of high end quality cello, it's like the pegs, for example, will just if the temperature's just ever so slightly not right, it'll just give out and it'll just loosen.
Yep.
And it's not like anything snapped. Like you have all you have to do is just retune the string, but
Yep.
it's just like come on, it's just like but then like you have guitars like metal pegs, and they just don't move no matter
Yeah.
how hard you just strum away at it, and it sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
only pet peeve with the cello is that, or any string instrument, is that if you just go at it hard enough, there's a chance the tuner pegs will just give
Yeah.
out on you.
I, I, I love the sound of the cello. Cello is, one of my favorite instrument sounds.
It has a beautiful sound. It it truly, like, in the sense of notes and in the way if you blend it properly, it has that perfect mid range, but it has
Yep.
so much potential to play really low notes, but also really
Yep.
high notes that sound just amazing. And I just love
Exactly.
how adaptable
Yep.
the instrument is.
Yep. It's got a lot of meat. It's got like a lot of meat. Like you said, a lot of that middle tone beefiness. It sounds so nice. And then you can get really low or you can get really high and really delicate.
And I love that. I love how and every instrument has its thing that it's
Yep.
really good at, and it's just the musician in me just loves these things. I'm sorry.
Yep. How long have you been playing cello?
See, I started in third or fourth grade, so probably nearly 10 years at this point.
Was it something you wanted, or was it something your parents kind of
Well, I mean,
nudged
I
you
was
into?
always like my mom's side of the family was very musical, so it was
Yep.
kind of just in my genes of interest. Like in
Yep.
school, they forced us to do it for like third and fourth
Yep.
grade, like at least
Yep.
pick a string instrument, and I just stuck with it, man. I felt a liking for it. I did at the time. I didn't know what I liked about it, but it was so fun. It was different. I could make all these noises, you know. And
Yep.
then I hit middle school, and it's just I think the slow interest in music composition kind of kicked in, and that kind of drove my passion after that. And then I hit high school, and then I started being able to play shit actually decently and
Yep.
actually good, and it sounds good. And then it was just like, oh my god, that's awesome. But I'd say the composition spark went in and out quite often. But
Yep.
it took a couple years before it just became passion and just
Cool.
enjoyment of having a release with it.
Yep. Yep. A cello's a great instrument.
I agree. As I said already, like it has such a range that you can express yourself in so many different ways in
Yep.
music with it. You
Yeah.
can play something really sad and somber, and it just sounds so beautiful and harmonic. But then you could play something really aggressive and angry, and it handles it, and it just sounds amazing.
Yep. Yep. And it's always in the background of most of the stuff we listen to. There's
Right.
some sort of cello in a lot of heavy songs, a lot of rock stuff, and then all your soundtrack stuff, all that stuff. There's cellos everywhere.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Like you don't notice it, but they're always on backing tracks, and they're
Yep.
always just there to blend stuff, and I love it. I don't notice it half the time, but then like when you really get into the nitty-gritty of it, then you realize, holy shit, they did this to blend this, and then
Yep.
this and this and this, and it's like, whoa.
Yep.
Like uh, I'd like learning that more as I like talk to musicians now, like
Yep.
professional musicians, that is, like all the tips and tricks and A, B, C, and D, and how to do all of it. And
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
like realizing so many more things, and I love it. What's your take?
On the cello.
Like just all the things that go into composition of
Hmm.
songs.
So for me, like I said, I really liked the combination of a cello and a guitar sound. A really nasty, distorted guitar accompanied by a really aggressive cello. I just love those two things together. It's like peanut butter and chocolate to me. So, I you know, when I would write, I would always write with that in mind. So when I would play a song, I would always imagine that happening alongside of the guitar or whatever it is I was writing. I would do a lot of it, all my cello and other instruments I would do virtually online, not
Right.
online, on my setup. And then I just obviously, it's just not the same for me. I mean, it works okay, but not like a real cello. And I've always wanted to have a cello player and the cellist in the band. So I really wanted to have a two guitar, cellist, bass player, singer and drummer. I really wanted to have that sort of style setup. And I've seen bands do it, and I'm like, oh man, that sounds so good. But
I
I just
think
never
there's
got.
I think there's a band that I saw. They took a guitar and for like a piece of their song, they used like a violin or cello bow on the strings
Yes.
just for
Yep.
a
Yep.
breakdown. I
Yep.
think the band I'm thinking of is Opeth.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen that too. I've seen a couple band. Actually, I've seen many bands use the bow on the guitar for whatever.
I'll be
Sometimes
honest, it doesn't sound the greatest in my opinion, but it's like
I was
it's
gonna
just
say
for the intensity
sometimes
of it.
sometimes it works. Sometimes I'm like, all right, it's just kind of a showpiece.
Yeah.
Then a lot of people are like, oh, he's got the bow. He's gonna do the guitar violin thing, and you're like, okay, cool.
I personally, I think like if you like distort it just right, it just sounds amazing. But it's just
Yeah,
like there's not the curvature on the strings like a string instrument would that has the bow. So it's just like you're just
yeah,
playing six strings and just
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
around.
yeah. You're just playing chords. Yeah,
And I mean, no shit on all of it. It's a creative genius in my opinion, or as you said, a showpiece.
hmm
But it's just I think it's pretty cool that people are doing that. The random
yeah,
ass appearance that like I'll get sent randomly, and it's
yep.
just like guitar just it's just like where
I
did people
was,
come up with this?
I was, Apocalyptica, when they did "I Don't Care" with Adam from 3 Days Grace. That was the type of music I wanted to write because that was heavy cello, guitar, rock song. That's the kind of
Yeah,
stuff I was looking to do. Yeah.
that's an amazing song. I'll tell you that right now. And
It's one of my
I will
favorites.
say, if someone's able to just recreate that into just a style of music, just do it. Like,
I'm
please, I
surprised.
beg you.
I mean, maybe it is more happening more often, but I'm surprised we haven't seen that more often because I thought that was a really, really good combination. That song was, I think, is one of the best songs out of what is it, the early 2000s, whenever that was,
Yeah, I
2010,
think so. Yeah.
whatever it was. But yeah, I would thought there would have been a lot more of that, but I don't know. Maybe there isn't. It's
I
just who knows.
I think there probably is a good amount of it out there. It's just not mainstream, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's just feel like it deserves more love. I feel like that kind of combination deserves to be out there more.
Yeah.
It just has this melodic feel that's just raw rock and roll, but at
Yep.
the same time, just have this beauty to it.
Yep. Yep. All right. Let me ask you a question. Are you a gamer?
Yes,
All right. What?
hardcore.
All right. What's your game? What's your current game?
My current one, ah, there's like two I'm hooked on. I think I got really back into Elder Scrolls Online again
Yep.
because I just always was interested in the Skyrim stuff and all that.
Yep.
I saw the new Oblivion. I
Yep.
haven't gotten into it yet. Haven't had the time to just sit down for an entire day and just go through it. Might do that tomorrow or something, but
Yep.
because I actually have a whole free day tomorrow. Where'd that
Nice.
come from? So
Nice.
I
Enjoy.
might sit down and do the new Oblivion. I saw you kind of asking about it online a little bit. Have you gotten into it really?
Yeah. So I finished Oblivion when it first came out years ago.
Mhm.
And right now, there's a bunch of really, really good games. So I just finished the Indiana Jones game.
I
And then
really want to do that one.
I thought that was pretty cool. And then I was playing, I really like Ad, Advance, what is it called? I forget what it was. It's kind of like Star.
Apex? No,
No, no, no, no, no, no,
that's a
no. This.
different
There's
ones?
a new there's shoot, I can't remember what it is. I've been playing the Adams Fall game,
I know what
which
you're
is
talking about. Yeah,
that one's pretty cool. It's kind of like
I
a
haven't played it, but
Fallout Metro style shooter.
I'd say
Um,
the other ones I'm really into, besides like outside of the Elder Scrolls universe. I mean, a lot of role play games. So like Dragon Age
no,
is a big one. I did the most recent one, the Veilguard.
yep,
That one I've played through twice, two or three times already. It's just the story components. I've seen so many people shit on it, but like
yep,
it just the story components of some of these games is what really just milks
yep,
at me.
yep.
It's like the combat has a good mix to it, but it's always the story for me. I get emotionally connected to these characters, and it's just like, no, I want you to like go through this whole journey with me. Don't have all these big climatic things happening.
I know. My problem is I only have limited time, so I only play for short periods of time, and then I lose my place. So yes, I've been playing Oblivion a lot. I feel guilty because I have all these other games haven't that I like that I haven't played, but I'm finding myself playing a game I already finished. So I feel guilty about that, but I enjoy it. It's really good.
It's a remaster of Oblivion, and let's be honest, old Oblivion has its glory where it's at, but the remaster just looks gorgeous.
It's awesome.
It
It's really
has
good. It's
the
got everything.
graphics just blow me away.
Yeah, it for some reason it just sucks me in and I just want to play that. And I have other games that I really like, but I just want to play Oblivion. I feel guilty about it, but that's the way
No,
it
no
goes.
shame for that. It's a good
So,
game. What can I
yeah,
say?
that's just the way it goes. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm
Play what
playing.
makes you happy.
Yeah. Are you playing on PlayStation or Xbox?
Xbox. I have a
Yeah.
PlayStation 2, but most of my games are on Xbox.
Yeah. That's my situation as well. I am a hardcore Xbox. I used to work for Xbox years ago, so I've just been dedicated Xbox ever since. And the Game Pass and just I just pay $20 a month or whatever it is, and I just get all these awesome games. So I don't really need to
Well,
do much
well,
beyond that.
if you have anything that is like co-op or anything that involves two people, hit me up, man.
All right,
We'll
man.
figure something out.
We can do something.
That sounds
Uh,
fun.
I haven't. I used to love doing the Rainbow Six and Ghost Recon and stuff like that. Way back in the day, so when we would all get together and do some co-oping and networking and stuff like that. But I haven't done that in
I
such a
love all
long
that. I
time.
love all those shooter games. I fell out of Call of Duty honestly after Black Ops 4
Yeah, me too.
because they just well, one, they took away the campaign. I think they brought it back, but it
Yeah,
was just like then after that, it felt like they were just remaking old games and they
yeah,
were doing the same old like copy and paste type
yeah,
stuff with
yeah,
like the battle royale crap that got popular with Fortnite and stuff. And it's
yeah,
just that like
yeah,
killed those shooter games for me.
yeah. I fell off all that stuff too. Call of Duty was my favorite for a long time, and then I'm like, I am all done now. I don't play any of them anymore.
I mean, I'll play it now. Like, if a friend is willing to buy me the game or it's free on Game Pass, then hell, I'll
Yeah,
play with you. But it's just
yeah,
like it's not my as I said, like I feel like they killed those games with the battle pass systems and
yeah,
the rewards and all that. And it just
yeah,
all the games I play now, like that I love and I've loved for years, all have adapted that reward system. And it's like it pisses me off.
yeah,
What happened to like the classic, in like for example, role play games like Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, and all that? Like in some systems, like games similar to that have adapted the battle pass system. And it's
yeah,
like, what happened to giving me a quest
yeah,
and just I go with the quest and it gives me the reward. Not, do all these kind of quests to get points and this and
yeah.
this and that. It's like it kills it to me.
They're just trying to keep you engaged, keep you coming back, but at the same time, I think it's backfiring. You
And like
know?
well, and with that battle pass system, you have to pay a subscription half the time.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like, why do I don't want to I paid you $70 for the game already. Like, let me
yeah,
just play it. Let me
yeah.
experience it. I'm having to pay money to get the premium like experience that you're supposed to get. But
Yeah, Call of Duty. I got annoyed real quick with Call of Duty. I haven't touched that in a while. But I do recommend checking out Oblivion. It
Yeah.
I love that game. It's
It's
good.
a classic.
It
I've
is.
definitely I played the original a little bit. I never finished it. I just for me, hey, give me the middle finger, give me the, look all you want. The graphics is what killed it for me. Like
Yep.
it had an amazing story from what I played. The graphics bugged me too much.
Yep. Yep.
And I hate that because that happened to me with Skyrim. Like once graphics just went skyrocketing up,
Yep.
just those older games just can't do it.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
I
Totally.
can't focus.
It's engaging. Yeah. Totally. Yep.
But what other games you been playing besides
That
Oblivion? I know your Oblivion's been your big one, but like what other games have you really
Yeah,
liked?
I mean, I haven't had a lot of time. I only played a little bit when I was sick, and unfortunately, I have a ton of games that you know, on my shelf that I have, well, not on my shelf, but on the box that I haven't really touched on yet. I bought Star Wars Out, was it Outlander or whatever it is, Star Wars Out something. I
So it
bought
was
that.
the it's like the
The,
new like the like run around like art like role
yeah,
playing
the newest
RPG.
one. Yeah, I bought
Yeah.
that. I haven't touched it. I literally have which I went and bought one of the Call of Duties that I hadn't played and I hadn't touched that. Um yeah, something else I bought and I haven't touched either. Yeah, I just once Oblivion came out, that's all I play now is Oblivion.
Yeah. It looks like a whole different game now. So
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I mean it's funny to go back 'cause I'm like I don't remember the difference between Oblivion and Skyrim for a lot of the stuff because, they're both pretty big games and I spent the long periods of time playing them. And now that I'm playing through, I'm like, oh, yes, that's right. I'm supposed to go over here. That's right. It's all kind of coming back to me because it's been, what, 10 years or 15 years, whatever it is.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So it's all slowly coming back to me.
That's what I noticed when you play like games that like you used to like really enjoy. Like like I'd say for the longest time it still kind of is like the whole Grand Theft Auto series has been a big game I kind of in my
Yep.
teenage years really got into.
Yep.
Um Probably shouldn't have, but it is what it is. We all
It's
have our guilty pleasures from our youth, let's
Everyone's
be
done
honest.
it. Yeah. Everyone's done
And
it.
I'd say I catch myself like with the whole hype of Grand Theft Auto 6 in the next year has really got me hooked on the whole playing 5 again to
Yep.
do the story on that. And then just going through that just brings back all these memories when I played the game for the first time like 10 years ago.
Yep.
And so
Grand
I
Theft
get the
Auto.
feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Grand Theft Auto was one that I always struggled with because I would always have long periods of time away from it. And then I couldn't remember what I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be doing. And then I'd be like, all right, I'm just getting my ass kicked every time now because I can't remember what I'm supposed to be doing and all that stuff. And Red Dead was like one of my all-time favorites. And on Red Dead, the second one, it's so beautiful, but man, I just can't remember what I'm supposed to be doing for half this stuff.
I will say I noticed that already like Red Dead Redemption 2 has been in my opinion, how I've displayed it with friends is that it's just Grand Theft Auto 5, but in the Wild West.
Wild
That's the
West.
sad part. It's not it's to me it's similar to RDR1, right? It's
Yep.
similar to the first game, but I just I can't help but feel that they just made Grand Theft Auto 5 and put it into Red Dead Redemption and it just
Yep.
pisses me off a little bit.
Yep.
And
Yep.
don't get me wrong, like as someone who's hardcore played Grand Theft Auto and I understand the feel and the whole concept of everything, but it's still just like they're two different games. I know they're popular, but
Yeah.
you
Yep.
don't gotta do all that. And then they put the online stuff into it.
Yeah.
That really sealed that stereotype of that's what this is. It's a Wild West copy of this game
Yep.
because they did
Yep.
that.
They're just taking that same model that works and trying it again.
That's yeah. As a it's just a common thing for me now. It's just like to me that I hate is that all the companies are just trying to get as much money out of you as possible.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
but anyway,
Everything's a
yeah,
subscription now. They want you to subscribe to everything.
it's What happened to it being free? Free
Yeah,
subscriptions. Free
well,
subscriptions.
everything you got to pay for it one way or another.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, I know we've been talking for a while, so I want to make sure I don't take too much of your evening so you can spend it with your wife and kids and all that fun stuff like you normally do.
It's just
So,
I'm home alone tonight. It's just me by myself.
what?
It is getting late though, so we probably should kind of get close to wrapping this up. But yeah,
Yes.
I'm just
Well,
chilling.
I love talking to you, but to close it out, is there any message you want to send to someone, like not someone, but to the people that you want to like maybe say an inspiring thing or something, or just give advice for maybe like
It's
up and coming to like not touring photographers, but live entertainment photographers in general, or anyone that might
sure,
be dealing with hardships possible.
sure. Everyone's going to be dealing with hardships at one point or another, whether it's health related, financial related, emotional, whatever. Everyone's going to be dealing with that. So the only thing I can say from my experience is you're going to make mistakes, you're going to fuck up, and you're going to have to pay and learn your lesson. And the thing that you need to do is you need to own it. If you fuck up, you need to own it. And you need to learn your lesson and you need to pay your dues. And then I'll say for anyone who wants to be a music photographer, you need to learn your camera. You need to get out there and learn your camera. Practice at home, practice on going out on the street and taking pictures of freaking birds if you want to, whatever. Just learn your camera so you know it. And then just start working with local bands and see if you can get, into shows with local bands and just build yourself out from there and build your portfolio. And then if you're good, people will notice. And if you're a nice person, people will notice. Even if you're not good at it and a nice person, people will notice. And that's it. I mean, I don't know if I can say anything inspiring other than set goals, be kind, be nice, smile, and, be a nice person and just be positive. There's so much negative right now. And I think a lot of people are getting sucked into the negative tornado that's going around and it's just sucking everybody in and everyone's freaking out and reacting. And I think you just need to, for me, I just sit and observe and learn what's going on, try to understand the details of what's happening, not make an opinion until you know those things, and then keep it to yourself. Not everyone gives a shit about your opinion. So do what, if you, or not, go out there and spread your opinion all over the place. That's up to you. But just from the heart, my goal, my suggestion is be a nice person. And that means be kind to people. Don't say dumb shit to people. It's easy to do. Everyone does it. And, just be smiling, be helpful, and be caring about everyone around you. That's it.
I love that. Couldn't have said it better myself. I love
Well,
that. It sounds
thank
like
you.
you and everything you always express personally,
Well,
in my
thank you
opinion.
very much. Thanks. Yeah, I wasn't always, I'm still not, but you got to do dumb shit to learn that you're a dummy sometimes. So you just got to
I
go
mean,
through your.
we all have that moment in our life. Let's be honest.
We all got to
At one
just
point or
own it.
another.
We got to own it and just move forward.
Well, Jason, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for talking to me. It was truly a pleasure as someone who's followed your work for several years.
Well,
It is
thank you.
a pleasure of mine to talk to you today.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's glad that we can finally hook up and get this done, guys, because I know you've been traveling and I've been sick and my voice is finally back. So I'm very grateful that I could do it. So thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you. That's that like I know you've been having a lot going on with your health and stuff, and I know that's been affecting your voice, and that's been one of the things that's kept me distant from saying anything because I didn't want to overstimulate you in this process, all that stuff. But I'm glad we finally got to a point where we can make it happen and spread your word, spread your message, and all that fun stuff.
Sure. Yeah, thanks. Thank you. And for those of you listening that are in the shower, your shower's over by now. Get out.
It's been a couple hours. Get out of there.
That's not normal. You shouldn't be doing that.
Gonna get webbed to toes or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you so much, Jason. You're awesome. I appreciate talking to you today. And everyone out there, I'll have all Jason's links in the comments to not comments, the description to his music, his companies, and all that fun stuff. And just so you can follow his journey and check him out. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Do you have any last words at all?
No, I think I mean, I kind of just said what I need to say, and I'm just grateful to be alive and doing what I'm doing, and I'm just going to enjoy everything I can.
I love that. I could say I'll say the same thing right now. Just keep doing you. All the people out there, just do yourself, be yourself. And if you want something, just grind at it, work at it. It'll eventually happen. Just gotta have faith and trust the process. And yeah, that's all I got. And yeah, until next time, everybody. Thank you for watching. You can find Jason's social media handles below as well as mine, and you can check out all my other work and all that as well as Jason's. And yeah, whatever time it is in the world, hope you're safe and have a good day, night, afternoon, whatever. And yeah, take care of everybody. Be kind. Have a good day, everyone.